lease RFP presentations of Thursday, February 3rd, 2026. Kathy, can you call the roll, please?
Mayor Shute.
Here.
Bishop.
Here.
Carlisle.
Here.
Avery.
Here.
Kolchak.
Here.
Stewart.
Here. So before we get going, just want to introduce the purpose of this workshop. It's to allow proposers responding to the request for proposal for the lease of the Sebring Municipal Golf Course property to present their concepts, qualifications, and proposed terms, and to provide City Council and the Mayor with an opportunity to ask clarifying questions. One thing to note, again, this is a workshop only, which means no votes will be taken. A vote on these proposals will happen at our meeting of February 19th here in these chambers at 5:30 p.m. There will be additional public comment available at that vote. And the way that we're going to do this meeting, the order, we're going to start with the presentations. So they are going to be drawn randomly by the mayor, the order of those presentations. Each presenter will have 30 minutes to go over their proposal, 30 minutes for council and the mayor to ask questions, and we'll move on to the next one. After all three proposals are done, council and the mayor will have one more opportunity for discussion and remarks. Then we will open it up to public comment for everyone. And then some follow-up for presenters at the end if necessary. Again, just a reminder, this is being recorded and live streamed. So if you have someone who is not available to be here, it will be up on YouTube right now. And no vote will be taken. You'll have the opportunity to add your comments or concerns before that meeting, and again before a vote is taken on February 19th. Okay, oh, and one last thing, it's not on the agenda. I expect this to be a pretty long workshop. We are going to probably pause for a bathroom break about halfway through, likely after the second proposal. I don't know that I can make it for the full length of this workshop, and I imagine that is a consistent trend throughout this room. So we'll assess probably after the second presentation and go from there. All right, and I think that's it. And so the first thing that we are going to go ahead and do then, to name the submittals, we have 3 submittals. The first was from the H&L Golf Group, second Harder Hall Historical Hotel LLC / Blackman Family, and third Sportsmed Properties. The mayor is going to draw the names from each one of these, and once proposals start, he'll be keeping the clock. And same thing when we get to public comment. Mr. Mayor. So this is for presentation number 1.
Sorry. Get my hand in so the workshop's done. First up, the Historic Harder Hall Hotel, Blackman Family. Robert.
Go ahead and draw for 2 and 3.
H&L Golf Group, second. And then Sportsmed, third. So.
Okay, so Harder Hall / Blackman Family, you guys are up, and 30 minutes for your presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor. Good afternoon, Mayor Shute, City Council members, City Administrator Nadler, Attorney Smith not here, and Clerk Haley, and members of the public. Thank you for your time, your service, and your commitment to the future of Sebring. On behalf of our entire team, I am honored to present our proposal, the future of the Sebring Golf Course in the City of Sebring. At its core, this proposal is about relieving the city of a long-standing financial burden while preserving and improving a public asset. At its core, this proposal is about, over the last 4 fiscal years alone, the golf course has lost the city $1,694,684, and is projected to exceed this year's estimated loss of $333,045. By the end of this year, the 5-year operating deficit will surpass $2 million. For perspective, the city's total annual ad valorem tax revenue is just over $7 million. That is not a sustainable trajectory. Before getting into specifics, it's important to clarify the fundamental choice before you today. This is not simply a decision between golf course operators. It is a choice between a short-term management proposal and a destination resort anchor proposal with long-term capital at risk. To understand how we've arrived here, it's important to remember that the golf course and Harder Hall have always been intertwined. The original developers built and gifted the first clubhouse in the city. When the hotel entered bankruptcy, the new buyers agreed to resume construction only if the city assumed responsibility for operating the course in perpetuity. In exchange, the developers gave the city the land, with stipulations attached to its future usage, and construction continued. 100 years later, the city still shoulders that cost burden. Today, that structure no longer serves the city's financial interests. We are requesting a long-term lease that provides the certainty necessary to invest significant capital, improve operations, and attract visitors from across Florida and beyond. This type of public-private partnership is neither novel nor experimental. It has been used successfully elsewhere and has even been used previously at the Sebring course itself, allowing long-term private control of underlying public ownership. The city's RFP stated that its goals were to 1. Transfer operations to a qualified entity. 2. Enhance tourism in Sebring and Highlands County. 3. Foster job creation and economic growth. And 4. Establish a financially sustainable long-term plan for the property. When measured against those criteria, our proposal stands apart. Other proposals focus primarily on operating the golf course as a standalone business. Our proposal is the only one that addresses all three goals together: long-term financial sustainability, tourism generation, and economic growth beyond the fairways. Highlands County is an extremely competitive golf market, with more than 11 courses currently in operation today. There is a reason public courses across the region struggle financially. Even experienced operators will tell you that breaking even, let alone turning a profit, is an uphill battle. You will hear shortly from our partners at DTE Golf Management and from Drew Locker. DTE is one of the most respected golf course management firms in the Southeast, actively operating more than 30 courses. They initially had no intention of responding to this RFP because of the financial challenges inherent to this market. Their participation reflects confidence not in easy profits, but in our broader vision. We do not need the golf course itself to be profitable. We are willing to backstop any and all losses that may be incurred. That is why DTE has agreed to partner with us. This distinction matters. Other proposals must rely on golf course profitability to succeed. Ours does not. We are structured to absorb losses if golf continues to struggle, because success is driven by the resort as a whole, not by golf margins alone. We intend to operate the course as a loss leader, using it to support the success of Harder Hall as a destination. In doing so, the city benefits from job creation, increased tourism, expanded tax revenue, and a revitalized public amenity without carrying the financial risk. No standalone golf course in this market can function as a destination driver on its own. Every other course in the region relies heavily upon abutting homes and the HOA to drive revenues. A resort anchor changes that equation entirely. Our lease proposal is $1 per year. This is not a revenue trade-off. It is a risk transfer. The city does not give up income, it gives up losses. At an average subsidy of approximately $400,000 per year, this proposal removes a significant and ongoing financial drain from the city's budget. If the course continues to lose money, we will absorb those losses. That is a commitment no other proposal can make. Our team brings proven experience. Drew Locker was the director of design and construction for the Mosaic Corporation for the construction of Streamsong Resort. Today, all three of Streamsong's courses are ranked in the top 100 public courses nationally, and Streamsong's Red Course consistently ranks as the #1 public course in the state of Florida. Streamsong has become a nationwide destination, and Drew will manage capital improvements here. Just as important as experience is commitment. Our proposal is the only one that includes defined capital investment, ongoing reinvestment, and long-term stewardship, rather than improvements made only if operations allow. DT Golf actively manages more than 30 courses based in Florida. Florida golf is not the Northeast. Climate, turf, insurance, labor, and seasonality are different. Experience operating here matters. This is the only proposal of the management team currently operating courses in the state of Florida. The community has been clear. At a recent town hall meeting hosted by Commissioner Don Elwell, only 8% of attendees polled supported converting the golf course into additional sports fields. The #1 choice of attendees with 59% support was, quote, "I don't want to see any of these projects." Understandably, residents want their tax dollars used wisely, desiring what exists now to be made better. We are offering to do exactly that at our own expense. If another group is selected and the course continues to struggle, the city resumes the losses. There is no buffer, there is no backstop. Under our proposal, the risk stays with us. A vote for this proposal delivers immediate return on investment. Overnight, hundreds of thousands of dollars are freed up for playgrounds, Max Lawn, the new City Hall project, and other community priorities, simply by eliminating the golf course subsidy. It also provides the certainty required for us to continue investing confidently in Harder Hall, using local contractors, creating good paying jobs, and strengthening Sebring's reputation as a place to visit. Just last week, a national auto racing publication contacted us for an interview on Harder Hall. That kind of attention does not come from a standalone golf course, it comes from destination level investment. Our goal is true public buy-in. While not every resident will stay overnight at the hotel, they will come for drinks, dining, the golf course, and the amenities. That is how this project benefits everyone. In closing, this proposal delivers immediate financial relief, long-term sustainability, and meaningful economic impact without sacrificing public access or control. This is not just a golf course contract, but a city-shaping proposal. We are looking 100 years into the future of Sebring to craft a brighter future for everyone. We believe this is the most responsible path forward for the city of Sebring. We look forward to building a strong partnership together. Thank you for your time. Next, you'll hear from TT Golf Manager Drew Locker.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Haynes. I am the Director of Business Development for the Golf Division for Down to Earth. Down to Earth got our start as a landscape and irrigation contractor. I don't want to bore you with the details, but a long time ago, we were heavily involved with the villages, and the villages wanted an outsourced maintenance solution for their golf courses. We were doing a lot of landscaping in there, and so we agreed to do it. We hired some good golf people, and kind of the rest is history. We have grown it to, like Robert said, we have grown it to actually 41 golf courses. We have courses as far north as Ohio, Texas, Carolinas, but the majority, about 36 of them, are in the state of Florida. We have three main divisions within our golf division. I know that sounds weird, but we have a construction division. We renovate golf courses. We build golf courses, and we basically do everything on a golf course you can think of. We also have our core business, which is the outsourced maintenance. It's kind of unheard of. A lot of people in the golf industry don't even know what outsourced maintenance is. But if you can think of it like, if you're familiar with like a Troon or a big company that manages the golf course, the owner hires them and they kind of lose control of the golf course. Troon's making decisions for them and all that kind of stuff. We sit right there in the middle. We are agronomy experts. We handle the golf course side. They still run the management of the golf course. Over the years, we've partnered with many municipalities, and we did a good job. It was for outsourced maintenance only. Those municipalities said, hey, we're not in the business of owning golf courses and running golf courses. Can you help us out? So we manage golf courses as well. When I say we've got 38 in the state of Florida, only 7 of those are complete managed golf courses where we handle the food and beverage, we handle the pro shop, we handle everything and the golf course. But our main primary focus is golf course maintenance, and been very successful. I believe in our proposal, this is not the proposal, but in our proposal, it actually shows, I think I showed probably 17 or so different references, and I encourage you to call each and every one of those, and obviously I picked them for certain reasons, mainly because they're similar to yours, municipalities or that. This is just part of our kind of proposal. Goes over kind of what I just said. This is our core competencies. We do partner with a third party, and we have the ability to, we're one of the first ever to do this, but we use it's like AI and satellite imaging. So satellite imaging of a golf course, you can think of Google Earth. Well, this then measures turf health on a golf course, which is really great. You can notice hot spots, notice problem things before the naked eye can see, and we're able to get ahead of it, which is one of the reasons why, on average, we increase revenue and number of rounds played at all of our golf courses by 25%. We do have a dedicated agronomy team. It's led by Chris Chambreau. He was the first ever hire on the golf division. He's a superintendent, got his start at Reunion, he ran all the golf courses at Reunion, but he was the first hire, he's my direct report. And then Director of Operations, it's Travis Anderson, he handled a lot of the purchasing and that kind of stuff for, equipment, for materials, for, chemicals, all that kind of stuff, so he'll work hand in hand, with the regional superintendent. The regional superintendent would be Dave Smitty. We have 6 regional superintendents within Down to Earth. And what a regional superintendent does is each one of our regional superintendents has between 6 and 10 golf courses that they're in charge of. All of our golf courses has a on-site superintendent, just like your golf course has now, or 99% of other golf courses as well. But we believe that the superintendent should be out in the field, understanding the golf course, working hand in hand, and not sit behind a desk looking at, irrigation parts and that kind of stuff and doing a bunch of order. So the regional superintendent handles that, and it's kind of a backup plan as well in case something happens to the superintendent. And then our business model is we like to keep as many employees as possible. Each one of the references that I'm going to show you, if you call them, you can ask if we kept the majority of the employees. We want to keep it. It would be business suicide for us to get the reputation to come in and we fire everybody and bring in new people. We are a large employer. We have over 4,500 employees within Down to Earth, 900 or so which are in the golf division. But because we're a large employer, we are also E-Verified. We are a drug-free workplace. We have all the benefits that you could imagine: 401k, health, dental, vision, all that stuff. So the employees that are currently there would all have access to that. We do not have to participate. I don't know exactly how your benefits work with them now. They don't have to participate, but it's offered to them, and obviously we do participate, paying about 50% of their benefits. Because, as I said, we have 4,500 employees and we're a large employer, obviously safety is our number one concern. I just kind of threw that in there, everybody. It's one of the most important hot buttons with our CEO and with the top-down approach. So safety comes number one. Go on. Okay, so here's some of the municipal courses. This is not all inclusive, as I said, but Highland Park, just do that in there because it is Ohio. Just kind of show you that we do have golf courses outside of Florida. Tarpon Springs is pretty close to you guys. I'm sure you're familiar with that. The Weldon clubs in South Carolina, these are all 3 of those are at Twin Rivers. They're all municipal golf courses, and they're very similar to kind of what you have here. And we not only maintain these, we manage all these municipal courses as well. And then the Taiba golf course as well. On top of just municipal golf courses, we don't just specialize in municipal courses. We have championship style golf courses, we have pay to play courses, we have private golf courses. We've got 9-hole golf courses and executive golf courses. Essentially, we are golf course agronomists and professionals, and if it's got, people are playing golf there, we can handle it. Here's just some of the championship golf courses that we have. And I can provide actual contact people and that kind of stuff if you're interested in calling them. I do encourage everyone I talk to call our references. I think that's the best way to figure out that we know what we're doing. And then obviously we've got all the licenses, certifications. We are bonded. We have all that, anything that you could want. Our insurance coverages are way exceed kind of what your expectations or requirements would be. And then lastly, I just wanted to touch on kind of how I got with Blackbird Family. I've been doing this for a long time. It's the first time in my career that anyone ever talked to me about partnering with them with the goal of not to make money at the golf course. That's not their main goal. Obviously, the hotel and driving, it will be a goal for them, I'm sure, over the course of 5 years. But the golf course, in order to be profitable, I don't have a magic sauce. I can't tell you that we're going to go in there with the same employees pretty much, and just because Down to Earth is there, we're going to turn a profit like that. It's not going to happen. And honestly, if anyone says that that's what's going to happen, it just won't. So I believe that the best partner would be the Blackburn family, just because obviously they're willing to take the losses. As they said, it's a risk transfer. We are a strong partner for them, and we believe that Down to Earth is best suited to get the golf course to where you guys want it to be. Thank you.
Drew? Good afternoon. Drew Locker, work with the Blackman family. Quick update, just to give you a 10-second update. The golf course and the restaurant located there are important to the resort. And just to touch base on the resort, roof is on. I don't know if anyone's noticed. Windows are installed in the north wing, and if I could get the temperature to come up a little higher, we can paint the north wing. So in about 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see the north wing painted. We moved on to the south wing with windows and grand doors and a lot of other work. The Blackmans have invested a significant amount of money. I pay the bills for it, so I see it going out the door. So we look at the golf course and you look at the restaurant, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about the restaurant group that we brought in. Brought in a company called the Landon Group out of Tampa. Big operator of, they do kind of a consulting group aspect of it. They have their chefs on board. It's actually interesting. The guy who is their head chef on staff, Robert S. If you look him up, he's from Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay, he's all over TV, which is kind of interesting. Very nice guy. Just finished a restaurant with him. But when we look at the golf course and the restaurant in particular, it is part of the F&B program at the resort. Currently, when we look at the resort, there's 4 F&B venues right now. We consider the golf course restaurant one of the 4. It probably falls third in there because the 4th one that we're proposing is the pool bar that has cold sandwiches, where this would be third, and then we have higher, kind of a higher end restaurants and fine dining that will go with the resort. But we look at this as part of the F&B program for the whole resort. So one of the challenges that you have when, I spent 10 years of my life out at Streamside, the biggest challenge that we had out there was you have the food and beverage operations guys who I said were using the Landon Group very well. They can do high end. They also do a lot of things that are on the water. They do some lower end, very casual stuff. The problem we always had at Streamside was finding that balance. Joe and Robert and I are avid golfers. When you come off the golf course, you're not looking for a $62 truffle infused filet mignon burrito or whatever some chef's coming up with. You want to come out there and it's like, all right, we're hot. I want a hot dog. I want a pickle. I want a cold beer. And I don't want to spend $50 on lunch. So you find that balance because there will be days at the resort during lower occupancy times that
Drew, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. So you may have times at the resort during the slower seasons where the restaurant across at the golf course may be the only venue open for lunch. So you may say, oh, we have lunch today is over there. So it's important that that restaurant over there does a lot of things. So when we talk to the group there and we were doing F&B programming, we talk about 3-meal restaurants, we talk about fine dining, we talk about bars, and we talk about the golf course restaurant, which needs to be good for a golf course. You got to go in and get a burger and not spend a lot of money. As everyone knows here, it's a popular place. People come there for lunch that have nothing to do with golf. So you need to be able to keep that thing, include the brand standards that we're going to set the standards pretty high at the resort, but be able to understand that this thing needs to do a lot. It needs to do a lot as far as that restaurant goes. It needs renovation. There may be, again, Robert and I have talked a lot about this. It's going to need a new kitchen. It's going to need renovation on the inside. So there would be some time where you're going to have to come offline, where you're going to have to do renovation work to it, but it would be programmed and designed as part of Harbor Hall. And that's how I think it's different from any of the other people who are presenting to us. It is just one component of many for us. It's very important for us to have the amenity of the golf course, the amenity of the golf course restaurant, the pro shop. When you have all that, the hotel will be successful. The hotel will drive people to play golf. which will do that. And it's very easy for these two things to coexist. You can have resort, so many rounds for resort golf. Your local players still get to come play and enjoy the course the way it's been for years in municipality. And like I said, they can go into the restaurant, have lunch. They can go in before the round and grab a egg and cheese sandwich that doesn't cost you $48. So these are the things that I try to instill with the group here, especially Robert gets it because, like I said, he's a golfer. He gets it. You need to find balance, and we need to understand that having this group together and the group of professionals that we've put together, I built a lot of golf courses. It's actually funny you had Remington on your list. It was the first golf course I ever built when I was out of college and knew absolutely nothing about golf courses, but it's probably why you had problems with it. But they have when you go through and we do this and you build the resort, it will drive traffic. Will they be able to invest more into the golf course? Yes, absolutely. But we can't ever lose sight, and Robert and the Blackman family totally understand this. You can't lose sight that it's a municipal course that people have to go do. When we did Streamsong, it was very important that Streamsong stayed as a public course. Now, it's prohibitively expensive. I get that sometimes. But for what we have here, it needs to be a municipal course that people can use and enjoy. But it also, for us, is much, much more important. And it's why they're willing to take such a big loss to cover this, so we can have the amenity to the resort. So Harder Hall is going to be beautiful. You're going to see it. Trust me. I spend a lot of time in that place. So thank you for your time. And I hope you understand that we have a long-term vision. We're not just here to come operate a golf course. Thank you.
Robert, you have 6 minutes left, or is your presentation complete? Okay, all right, so we're going to move on to 30 minutes for council and the mayor questions and comments. Who would like to get us started off?
Just Robert, you want to step back up there so we can hear you. This is a public course, and when we've talked in the past, you were going to keep it a public course, honor lifetime memberships, and is that still in the plan? Make it affordable for local?
Yes.
Okay,
I just, the golf document, yes. we
okay,
Honor holiday memberships.
and make it an affordable course for local
Right, I mean,
residents.
that's the main thing is we were talking about. You already have such a competitive market. You can really, when you have an issue like you have with the market in Highlands County, you have to either compete with price or with quality. So you're not going to be able to undercut much more. And it's already basically all the courses are within $10 of each other in the county right now. So what we're planning on doing is making the experience better so that we can get more traffic to then, incrementally have that profit on each player to try and decrease the loss.
On that note, talking about making the experience better, what changes do you envision regarding the layout of the course, or do you envision any layout changes?
Don't really have any plans for layout changes. I think there's a lot of areas for room for improvement. I think the first couple things, irrigation is going to have to be redone. Within the next 3 years, cart paths need to be adjusted and redone. And then I think the greens are aging, and I think they're going to have to be redone. But I don't think as rerouting the golf course or changing holes. That's kind of up to the Blackmans, but I don't foresee a need to have to change the entire golf course for the routing.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the course is old enough now. It's 100 years old that you don't want to make major changes because then you're competing against the newest and the best. You want to try and lean into the heritage tourism of it. The fact that it is a historic course, the Florida Golf Trail, it publicizes that it is an old course. What we do want to do in terms of changing topography, we do want to put in over the next few years at least a couple ponds for drainage, because we know we've heard a lot of feedback from the neighborhood. We've seen it ourselves. There are drainage problems in the neighborhood. Any kind of relief will help the entire area. So that's kind of the one big topography changes we do want to do.
Are you planning on doing any additional structures or buildings on the property to increase the amenities?
Yeah, what we're hoping to do is right now is enhance and renovate the current clubhouse. We know in the kind of groundskeeper area, there's issues with those buildings, roof issues, some roofs non-existent. So we're going to try and repair basically what's there first, and then do an entire facility assessment. But the plan is basically take what you have, make it better, and then if you need expansion, go for that.
Okay.
But there's no plan in place, no, for expansion of buildings.
One of the things that you've noticed, there's a lot of small kind of lost leaders there. One big miss I think there is some outdoor dining. We have some areas in the back of the building right now that could immediately, for very low cost, add some outdoor dining, add some areas where people can, get their lunch, come outside and do that. But the building itself, when you come in, you're gonna have to start the renovation of the kitchen. I mean, that's obviously the first thing. Hoods, a lot of things need some attention in there, which is not, it's gonna get new equipment, everything will go in there. But there are some areas where, that building, it's an interesting look. You're gonna have to take a little bit of time to add to the architecture to it, especially if it's gonna be, basically a sister property to the resort. They don't look anything alike, and you're gonna have to do something to do that. But there's some low hanging fruit that immediately we can increase the, just the feel of it there, because there is some wasted space in there.
So is your intention to make the facade somehow match or be reminiscent of Carter Hall? Is that what you're
So we've talked
referencing?
with, we have 3 different architects that we work with right now on Carter Hall. So what we'll do is it's gonna have to speak to it without, you're not gonna go in and change it, put a tower in it, make it pink, but you're gonna have to do some things. So just to make it more attractive, because when you drive up to the building, where's the front, where's the back, where's the side? There's no real, the parking lot's a huge giant parking lot. There's a lot of things that weren't done great that we can enhance landscaping, we can work on entries, canopies, things to make it feel a little more, so you know where you're going when you get them. But it's, by the way, it is a good building though. So I'm all about renovating buildings like we're doing with the bank building downtown. There's no reason to come in and tear it down at all. It just needs to look a little nicer.
One of my big concerns would be looking just specifically this property, knowing that 100 years ago somebody gave it to us. As you know, I want to make sure that we're fostering that trust that somebody gave the city to maintain this space for public use, for recreation, for golf course too. So 100 years from now too, when we're all not here, making sure that that place is still used for the public. So that's one of the questions too, of not necessarily adding additional things outside of that purpose too. I wouldn't want to see 50 years from now saying, hey, part of the amenity is we need to build some condos out there, or we need to build new developments. I just want to make sure that we're locking that up kind of per se for the next 100 years, and that we're honoring that commitment somebody gave to the city 100 years ago. Do you have any issues with that? Just saying, hey, this is what the future use is going to be, and ensuring that that public trust is still there.
I think you make a great point. A really good point for a number of reasons. Number one, under the structure, it would still be publicly owned.
Mhm.
And not only would we need to permit anything, right, if we're trying to get something built, but we'd have to get permission from the owner.
Mhm.
So there'd be 2 levels of stop there. But additionally, we are going to maintain this public. We have a lot of unutilized density on the hotel side right now anyway. We have 15 acres over there, and we're not even looking to expand into that. So there'd be no need for us to ever build over the golf course. But I agree with you on the intent. You're looking back at the intent. It was given to the city to go with the golf course so that the city would assume the loss, because the golf course, or excuse me, the hotel owner were saying, hey, this is gonna be a tough go. We need you guys to have some skin in the game by taking the loss on the course, and we'll do the hotel. So the intent, I think, is, the intent is for them to be together, and this is the rejoining of them, kind of officially. So we're excited for a number of reasons. But you make an excellent point.
Thank you.
It said that zoning wouldn't permit it, so you have a third problem with zoning guidelines.
On the drainage, more more ponds will fix. You can't stack water. So you have to figure out how to get the water off of the property, which is a lot of permit.
No, we agree that that wouldn't completely stop it. We're talking about on certain low areas, directing water off the course to try and alleviate some of it. There's a lot of drainage problems, you're absolutely right. This is just the first tranche to try and start alleviating it, but it's gonna be a long-term problem forever, right? To get this solved, and you're just gonna have to be trying to get better and better progressively. And of course, without adding impervious space, so you wanna have your green space, but you wanna have swales and different ponds to catch water. So,
Robert, one other thing, because Mr. Carlisle, I bring up a very good point. When we also do the site development work for the resort, that gives us an opportunity to work with Swift Mud and work with all of them to, okay, we have these very large pieces of parcels together. You have lakes. How can we reroute drainage? How can we do that? Because you're right, it's not going to, it won't solve it immediately. You may say, okay, hole 3 doesn't get wet in the center anymore. Awesome. And may add a little bit of that, but it's ultimately an underground drainage correction problem that's going to have to go across the road eventually or somewhere else in stormwater retention. So it's a much bigger problem, but when we go through, we're the only ones who have the ability with the ownership of the hotel and the properties there to work with the municipality as well as, Swift Mud, and I guess it would be the people here to be able to find a way to help with that drainage, which will help agronomy, it'll help growing and all the other things, but it's a very good point. You can't solve a problem digging holes.
No.
So I had a question kind of regarding the lease terms, for you, Robert. 99 years is what you proposed. Every Sebring resident will probably be dead, right? Maybe my 8-month-old son if he eats his vegetables. Would you be open to still a very long-term lease that's a little shorter than that? In part, that freaks me out because 99 years might as well be forever, right? At least for the way the rest of us are concerned. I thought a more amenable might be 20 or 25 with a renewal for that same amount. What are your thoughts on that?
99, I know it seems like a long, but you're in construction. That is a common, long term when you still want control, but you don't want the responsibility. And that's kind of what I guess you're getting into incentivization here, where, we heard from you guys before, like, hey, there's some questions about doing a disposition of this property. We were looking at structuring it this way because we want to show that we have true buy-in for this product so that we can not cut corners, because 20-25 years, you're already talking about a lot of terms with, we now have 50-year mortgages, people would be looking towards ending if you have a shorter term. We want to do something where we truly have buy-in for long-term investment and long-term, at least we feel ownership and we're willing to do things the right way. So that's why we're looking at that.
You don't think 50 years would be a long enough horizon for that?
If you had an option, right, but we'd want to have the option at least because you have to look at it in terms of the ability to truly make the product what it should be. And that's where a lot of these things look into. Like, there's a lot of these public-private partnerships that do go these 99-year routes.
Okay.
You said that Carter Hall gifted the golf course to Sebring because they didn't want to have the loss. Why did they build another one?
So that's great. No, that's an excellent point. So what happened? Seriously, it was a wonderful point. So what happened was the Biltmore Group was building the hotel. 75% done. They went bankrupt. They had 2,000 acres that they were going to build on. They were going to do a football field. They were going to do a baseball field. They actually did open a chartered yacht club at the hotel. When they went bankrupt, a group from the Northeast bought the hotel at foreclosure auction. And then I'd given some of you guys newspaper articles on this. They said, hey, we will continue construction if you guys shoulder the burden of a golf course. The golf course was 9 holes. They gave the land for the additional 9, and the previous owners had built the clubhouse. That was the deal that was agreed to by the city council, and they shouldered the burden for the creation of it as well. They paid for the development. That land sat vacant until the 1950s. That was under the Jacobsons. They opened another golf course they owned themselves, so they could have a golf school and they could have more control of it. So that the Harder Hall golf course, so to speak, was built in the 50s because they had the land sitting.
And it operated for years and years and years and years.
Because they had a golf course. The hotel has never operated without a golf course attached to it. Never one day been in operation without some type of golf course attached. Whether it be the Harder Hall Golf Course in the Muni, never once has it been open today.
In the proposal, you said that you want to start this in line with our fiscal year, October 1st, 2026. Hindsight, I think we should have did the RFP 2 years ago, so I'll be the first one to say, if I could go back, would have done it differently. But we've been working on that contract together for, 18 months, maybe 2 years at this point too. How confident are you that we're going to be able to actually, if we say yes, that we can actually come up with a contract city initiated that we can move forward as of that date?
You tell me.
I just don't want to get in the same situation too that we're really close, we're about to reach that point, but we're just something falls through at the last 90%.
I couldn't agree more. We're on the same page, my friend.
Okay. So I do agree with Josh too that the 99-year lease is, first off, thanks for being open to even a lease and not just for the purchase too, because that was probably one of my biggest sticky points of the whole thing is not losing ownership of the golf course. So just being open to that lease too. I mean, I would feel better if possible to do maybe a 50-year and then another 50-year extension too. But I know we talked about that. I don't want to get into those details. I would just be concerned too. We move forward with something, but we can't. We run into the same situation that we did last time. Yeah. Same thing with potential clawbacks too. Looking at what your actual deliverables are on for the hotel and all the other properties too. Is we can talk about that later too, or as we get further in discussion. But making sure that there are reasonable guidelines and milestones that we set collectively to make sure that if something doesn't happen, it reverts back to the city. Or assuming that you're still open to that, just like the original contract. And
Yeah, I
having these
mean, the only
callbacks.
thing I would say is, I would still be agreeable to that. It's just, we have to look at judging all three proposals on their face value of nobody else. We don't want clawbacks that nobody else would have at this point,
So I would expect there to be callbacks on all three,
Right,
just to
and
protect the
we're
city.
happy to be with whatever clawback you think is fair, but, we don't want ones that signal us out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just, conditions of the golf course, what we say we're gonna do, we do. It is upgraded, doesn't go, downhill. Because we're comfortable with that with the partners we have, and again, the incentivization we have, so we're fine with, whatever you guys think. Well, I think we talked about that before, about a bunch of different, stipulation and clawbacks, we're still fine with that.
What's your projected date of opening the hotel?
That is that's the $1 million question. So right now, just to give you a quick kind of time frame there, roofs on the whole building is complete. Windows are about 38% complete. We just ordered a astronomical amount of grand doors. They're absolutely beautiful that are going in. So I would think by June we've got the exterior buttoned up. And at that point, we'll start rolling into interior architectural design. We've only done some schematic design. Unfortunately for us, one of the things holding this up is if we get this restaurant or not. Because if you don't get the restaurant at the golf course, then we have to change our F&B program for inside the resort. So we'll start going. It would be about 6 months of architectural design, and then I would say about 18 months worth of construction. Once we get the interior buttoned up, depending on SWIFMA and getting power and all the things that we need, because the hotel, as far as utilities, MEP, everything is brand new. There's nothing salvageable in that building, so everything's going to be replaced. So, but that's kind of my timeline. Again, it all depends on how long it takes us to design and do that. Fortunately for us, the city of Sebring's, I said this at the bank opening. Your building department's fantastic to work with, so things move pretty quick.
So piggybacking on that, and sorry, I know schedule is a dirty word for construction professionals. If I read the proposal correctly, regardless of the work that you do in the restaurant side, the golf course is going to remain open continuously. Is that accurate?
Yeah, the plan is, there's nothing that's currently planned that would alleviate us from keeping it off.
Okay, excellent. And I had our attorney, Mr. Swain, did send in a couple of questions for different proposers. I had one for you guys,
Yes.
and this is more a question for Robert. The proposed contractor and operator are qualified. If the operator leaves for some reason during the lease, would you agree that the city has the ability to approve any replacement operator? And same thing for the contractor.
That's the question again.
So can
It's like a selling
I can say it in
Yes.
plain English, I think. This I'm interpreting, lawyer speak too. Because Down to Earth and Mr. Locker are part of your proposal, if during the lease period, it's a long lease, they leave, would you agree that the city has the right to kind of approve a replacement operator?
If they leave, would the city be able to take it back?
No.
That's
Our new person.
No, just approve who you would replace to bring in to run it.
Last right of refusal. That you would go in and just, I think that, yeah, because as we cannot tell what the future holds would be, if I was to leave the team or if Down to Earth would leave the team, we would have to come back to you to say, here's our replacement, here's why they're qualified, this is who we're using, but the municipality shouldn't be able to dictate who. You can't bring us X, Y, Z and say, this is who you have to use.
Yeah,
But
I
you-
think
you
we're on the
could
same
set some
page.
criteria
Right.
that we could say, okay, yeah, we're both reasonable. They're comparable to DTE or better, and that's what it would be. But I think it's when you do write the contract that somewhere in there it says, hey, key man provisions are here. You need to bring someone who's at least disqualified.
Okay, I think that answers
Yeah.
what our lawyer is asking. I hope. Okay,
And we will be giving both of them a lot of vitamins, so nothing to happen.
excellent. All right.
In 99 years. Yeah.
And eating their fish.
What about the employees?
Well, as I said, kind of in my little speech, we keep employed. That's the question. Hold on. Yeah, we plan on keeping everybody. Now, when I say keeping everybody, it's not for 99 years. That's silly. But we're gonna offer, as long as they can pass a drug test. How we do it is we have open recs on for our different golf clubs that we have on our website, or if they went to LinkedIn or TurfNet or all these places that golf people go, they have a open rec that they apply for. We lock it down for everybody except for the existing team that's there. They're the only ones that can have access to it, and we will offer them a position. It's, we talked to Robert about it. As long as I know our proposal, and as long as I know what they're making, if it's a superintendent that's making X, I just wanted to know that up front, so, I can figure it out whether or not we're gonna do that. Believe it or not, superintendents, depending on the market, can make, anywhere from 60,000 to 200,000, so, yeah, but our plan is, just like every other golf course, not just when we're partnering with a developer or with you guys, if it's a private owned golf course, like you talked about Remington, it's privately owned. We kept everybody. Superintendent that was there then when we took it over is still there. He's just got his checks coming from somebody that signed it different.
Robert, one more question on my end, and I think just a lot of people have been asking me this, and maybe you can provide some clarity too. I feel like a lot of the projects that you have, and no offense to this, it's like a loss leader here and a loss leader there and a loss leader. I feel like when you just keep on saying it, you're not going to make any money. Where's the money coming from too? Is it just a holistic view too? Once all the projects are lined up and everything is operational, then you can maybe make some money. I think it would just personally put me at ease to figure out this is your plan to actually make something profitable.
I was hoping this would turn into a parade for us after we were done presenting. No, the truth is, we we said this from day one. Sebring has so much potential for every part of Sebring has potential for greatness. It has to be cohesive. You can't be operating over here and over there. It can't be siloed, and that's kind of why we've been on this project so much. Is we don't like the silo of a golf course right next to a resort. Let's make it a golf resort. You know, the downtown plays into driving, business to the hotels on 27. All of this holistically has to play together. Where we're making money is we're hoping to make money on this hotel sometime. We know we're quite aware that we are already overinvested in the hotel for what it's worth today, right? We couldn't exit if we wanted to because we put so much money in. It doesn't have market value. The hope and goal is that we will be able to have enough stuff in one basket that it will generate money as a standalone project when it's done. I used to be a successful business person before I came to Sebring and got invested in stuff. We used to make a lot of money on stuff, and we've been burning that money and lighting it on fire recently. That's why we want this certainty, is because we can't continue just to light stuff on fire, because you're right. At some point, you have to say, this is insane if it's not going to happen, and that's why we've been pushing to have some clarity on this for a couple of years now.
There's a burn ban on, so please don't light anything.
We'll do it indoors.
We've got about 5 minutes left for questions. Anything else from council or the mayor?
Still have a chance. see
I
you
know.
thinking.
No, I'm thinking.
I'll ask one quick one.
Yeah, right.
So I've got one quick one for you, and I would expect this to be the same for every proposal as well. Your lease terms, it's $1 for 99 years. I'm assuming that means a triple net lease. It would go back on the tax rolls, and you would take care of any insurance. That would not be a part of the city's responsibility. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So on that note too, do you intend or do you have any plans of coming back to the city to ask for any kind of rebates, tax abatement, anything from us in the future?
No.
Okay. On the hotel and golf course as well, both of those.
If you guys want to kick in, go nuts. We haven't heard the offers in 3 years, so we've got it. Assuming that's not going to happen. But I will say that they reminded me, we did put a finance, I think we put a letter that said we were financial. I don't know what it said, but it said something.
Yeah, Bird
about
Valley Bank.
We're good. Yeah. So, and there was a contact there that we worked with closely.
And asking that too, just because of the past too, you said, hey, and I think you're really proud of the idea that, hey, you haven't asked the city for anything yet, but that changed a little bit up several months ago with the CRA now that they got you some grants too. So I'm wondering if there is going to be an ask in the future to say, hey, we just need a little bit more from the city. We need more participation. I want to know what we're getting into as
Right.
much as we can with the information that we have now.
Right, I get it. We kind of given up on getting money from the city in that respect. We know that the previous owners have gotten stuff. As far as the CRA project, we're putting in. You can ask Drew. That's going to be personal investment about $3.5 million on top of we got 15-16% of that back, which we're thankful for. We're very thankful to CRA because that got us over the hump on it. That was also not a project that was able to be financed. That was a capital project for us because you couldn't get financing. Valley wouldn't touch that, so we had to come up with another $3.5 million cash. That's what I used to have common sense before I got into the Sebring, time warp here where we're burning money all the time. But I do think, when you look at that bank project, I mean, who else put in $3.5 million in the downtown CRA in the last 10 years of the project? I can't think of any, and maybe there are some, but I mean, this is a pretty significant investiture on that project. And Drew is also doing that. You want to tell them about it? So we got time. You saved our 6
So we did, right. Bank, just so so a lot of people are at the groundbreaking there. Demolition's complete. We start framing tomorrow morning. Starting to run duct work, starting to go. So that project is going to move very, very quickly. The only thing I'm waiting for, concerned about, is whether the carpet makes it in time because it's moving pretty quickly. But again, one thing I have to tell you guys, the building department is fantastic to work with. So, and believe me, I complain about building departments from Jacksonville to Key West. So for me to say something good about them, they're wonderful to work with, but that project's cruising right along.
And Robert, I think the only difference too is like, well, now the city's gonna get potentially working with you too directly. So I just want to make sure that we're knowing exactly what we're getting ourselves into. Because we want to not lose all this money every year on the golf course, but we want to make sure we're covering ourselves and doing the
No,
best
that's
work for
what
the
we're
taxpayer.
priding ourselves on in this, is that, we're not gonna come back if a business plan doesn't work, or it doesn't make money, because we're already prepared for it not to make money. And, we've talked internally, we have an internal goal of between year 4 and year 5, getting close to break even. But we're aware that, you're gonna be multiple years before you can approach the break even point. And that's at $1 a year. And that's what, and that's why DT passed on this thing when it came across their desk at first is, it's a really tough market out here. And I'm not saying you guys have done a bad job running this thing. You guys have a ton of competition. I mean, in St. Pete, we have one public course. It's not hard to make it when you're the only public course. But when you guys have so many courses that are actually going out of business, and you have land where, let's just say the market took off, somebody else could build something, you're never gonna, bubble that price up. So you have to compete on quality.
Okay, that's time. Thank you guys very much. All right, next up on our list here, H&L Golf Group. Have 30 minutes for a presentation.
City Council. My name's Harry Leonard, with the Golf Group. A little about history about our company. We're based in New Jersey. My father founded the company. He was a landscaper back in the early 70s. And one day, he was doing retirement committees, doing all the landscaping and stuff like that. And they said, you know what, Harry, you know I don't want to build a golf course. He lied to him and said, yes, he does. So he built a 9-hole golf course. Didn't know what he was doing. And then the community down the street asked him the same thing. Can you help us with our golf course? It turned into a golf course maintenance company. In 2011, we partnered up with another company to turn into a golf management company to do the pro shop, to do the maintenance, and to do the restaurant up in New Jersey. We got a state lease up there with Spring Meadow Golf Course. State of New Jersey owned it. When we took that lease over, they were doing $750,000 a year in gross revenue, so less than what Sebring did last year. Our last year there, which was last year, we ended up doing $2.3 million in gross revenue, and that's just on the golf. That's not including the restaurant. So what I do is I can go into golf courses that are not profitable and make them profitable, just with little things here and there to get started with, and then you move on to the capital improvement side. Like Torrance Sebring. I saw pictures from 2023 of what it looked like, and I just toured it a couple times this past week. What Fred and his crew have done with the manpower they have has been remarkable. With the greens, with the tee boxes, a lot of the bunkers. But what I would do, the first things I would do in there is I would edge bunkers, add sand to them, because that's a big selling point. A lot of people are in the bunkers around where I play, so I'm sure they're down here too. And turf planing 15 fairway. That's the biggest drainage issue that I saw that people have told me. They did it on 9 fairway, and I would probably do it on 15 too. That will alleviate a lot of that drainage issue that you see on 15. Landscape around the entrance, around the clubhouse, around the restaurant, around the golf course. You make a left off of 27, you see in on the lakes, it's beautifully landscaped. I'm sure when the Blackmans are done with Art Hall, that's going to be beautifully landscaped. It looks like a pit on the right-hand side of that road. So I would start right away with doing something like that. I already talked to a couple of people down here that own some nurseries that would be willing to work with us, and I would get started on that right away. Clean out drainage ditches. That's another problem with the golf course. Again, Fred does a wonderful job, him and his crew. They do not have the manpower to do stuff like that. They just don't. And that's where we come in and we're able to provide them with that and get a lot more things done. Edging the existing car paths. Again, aesthetically, that would look fantastic. That needs to be done. Again, Fred and his crew did not have the time to do that. Also, we would pick certain places around like tee boxes, around green complexes, where we would take out the existing pavement and put a crushed C-cell look next to the tees and next to the greens, which would be aesthetically a lot more pleasing than just macadam or any other pavement that you guys can put out there right now. One thing I want to clean up, I'm sure a lot of questions with my financial projections. That was including the golf course and the restaurant, because that's what the bid was for. So that 1.6 I had for the first year included gross revenue for the restaurant and the golf course. That wasn't just me thinking that I could double the revenue of the golf course in 1 year, because can't do that. When it comes to saving money, now with us taking it off your guys' budget and us offering just the first year alone $200,000, just with employees benefits, because we offer them benefits, we do the 401k, we do the health insurance, dental, vision, all that stuff. But just with the 6 full-time employees you guys got there now, we'd be saving $30,000 per employee when they come to us, and also another $60,000 for like computer services and clerical work that the township or the city does for the golf course already. Just with those two things, that's $240,000 in the first year of saving. So there's that lease payment and $40,000 extra on top. I also will honor any deal that the city has made with the SGA. I know their memberships and everything like that. I don't want to come in here guns a-blazing saying we're going to do this. No, they can't do this, they can't do that. I'll honor anything the city already has in store. The only thing I would ask for is maybe a little adjustment with tee times and certain, because 8 a.m. on a Sunday prime time, that's, you want those $50 people playing. You don't, it's hard having those lifetime memberships. But we will not have a problem honoring any of them going forward. Now you might say the $200,000 per year for first year, then going up 3% might be a lot. Well, with Spring Meadow, when I took that over in 2011, our first year payment was $120,000, and then we had to do 15% of any gross revenue we made over $1 million. Well, like I said before, our last year there we did $2.3 million. So we had to pay 50% on top of $1.3 million. So in the 14 years we were there, we paid the state of New Jersey $3.3 million. Cedar Creek, I took that over 8 years ago. That was also up in New Jersey. Over the last 8 years, I paid them $1.7 million. In the first 10 years with Sebring, the city will be getting $2.3 million. And that's just in lease. And Josh, you brought up the triple net lease. It would be an absolute triple net lease with us as well. Now, some history of the company. I know I dealt in that before. And this is just me wanting to be completely transparent with everybody of my company history and everything like that. 2 years ago, I had to kind of pump the brakes on a few things. I had to file Chapter 11 with my one company, Atlantic Golf Management. There was a little reorganization of debt. I'm not out to screw anybody. I had to sit everybody down and tell them, listen, this is what's going on with me. I got to do this. I got to do that. Everybody understood. You can call the mayor of the golf course I work at in New Jersey right now. He'll tell you I did not miss a payment while going through all that. I did not miss a payment with any of my vendors. I have letters that I could, if the council wants to see them, I can provide them to you guys. All my vendors are completely paid. The township completely paid. And it just kind of, I was at the point where I thought I knew everything, and I was young and thought I could figure out everything on my own. And you learn that you can't. You got to let the people that know what they're doing take that reign. I'm good at providing good golf conditions and making money on golf courses. That's what I'm good at. Now I have actual CPAs that take care of my finances and everything like that. And I have recommendations from that as well if the city would like to see them. I know we're in competition with each other right now, but I mean, when they get Harder Hall up and running, I would love to work with them. I mean, I understand why they would want the golf course to go with the hotel. I completely get it. But this is what I do. I go into places that don't have profitable golf courses and I make them profitable. And the city can sit back and collect a rent check every month. That's what you guys do. That's what you guys will do. And you'll have much better conditions. Like you asked Robert before about any structural changes to the golf course or anything like that. The only, like one of the things I saw would be on 18, maybe moving the tee to the right. So you hit over the little pond there and then you're staring at the American flag down at the end of the fairway. I think something like that. But structurally, like there's not a lot that can really go on there with changing the course around, because then you have to move around irrigation and everything like that. But I did basically all the pumps are working great. Just a lot of the irrigation problem there is just wiring, some piping and stuff like that, that's easy compared to dealing with pumps or dealing with anything like that. So I know the pumps were replaced 6 years ago or 5 years ago or something like that. And they have an extra pump there as well, just in case something happens with the pump that's currently in use. With Max Hall, I know your guys are gonna, or Max Long, I'm sorry. I have no problem still sharing the maintenance bill with you guys. I mean, I have no problem sharing the fuel with you guys, because I know this is probably going to be a big headache trying to come up with some other place to do this or do that. Maintenance building still you guys, and I have no problem, like I said, sharing fuel and sharing the building with you guys. With the brush pile, Every golf course in the United States has a brush pile. The one in Sebring is nicely hidden. I can understand why they would want, because probably from up top of the hotel you can kind of see it. I have no problem doing a wood chipper when need be in there to just clean it up. But like I said, it's already pretty much hidden. You can't really even see it from the fairway if you're not really looking out for it. So, yeah, that would be another thing I would do right away. Also, Fred, Renee, their whole crew, Gabriel, Sonia, their crew in the Caddy Shack, they've been doing a wonderful job. In early January, I know I don't have any southeast turf knowledge, really. I've always been up in the northeast, and I said, you know what, let me call down there and see if they would be interested in staying on board. I got in touch with Gabriel. I talked to him for a while. I got in touch with Fred, talked to him for a while, and they were all excited to stay on board. They said it's going to be an uphill battle, but yeah, if you were to get it, we would absolutely stay on board. So it's been a pleasure getting to know them, Renee, all those guys, and yeah, we're saving 42 people's jobs if it's awarded to us. Residents of Sebring, 42, 32 in the restaurant, 10 on the golf course, along with the $200,000 per year, going up 3% each year. And in your contract, if I miss a payment, if the course looks like crap, listen, you guys can get rid of us. You guys can be well protected. We prove ourselves by the quality of the golf. I could stand up here, I could take up the whole 30 minutes and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You'll see if you give us the contract what we do with the golf course and what we do with the restaurant. And that's basically it.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and open it up to council and mayor questions then. All right, well, I'll jump in. So the bankruptcy freaks me out, especially that it's ongoing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know, that freaks me out. It's a
Yeah.
pretty
No,
major
I'll
red
explain it to
flag.
you. Yeah, I'll explain it to you. What happened was, back at our golf course at Spring Meadow, we had a very large sinkhole develop. We got prices and stuff like that for $400,000 to get it all fixed. The state told me they would reimburse me, do the project. I put out the money, paid for it to get done, got done. State came back and said they can't legally do that. So I was stuck with a $400,000 bill right there. My own fault. I got in, if you ever heard of MCAs, Merchant Cash Advance Companies, I signed up for a couple of those, and basically their whole thing is to put you out of business. So it got to a point where my girlfriend told me I was going to keep playing the game, keep trying to borrow from Peter to pay Paul and all that stuff. Then my girlfriend told me she was pregnant. At that point, I talked to one of my advisors and said, Ed, I got to stop this charade. I got to find a way out of this. He gave me an appointment with a bankruptcy attorney. Bankruptcy attorney told me, you file for Chapter 11, they'll disappear because they already made 200% on their money at that point. So that's what I did. It's the best thing I've ever done, to be honest with you. I mean, it's embarrassing to stand up here and say it in front of everybody that I had to do that, but that's what I had to do, and it's made my life a hell of a lot easier. It's made my family's life a hell of a lot easier, and it's made my company's life a hell of a lot easier.
So I guess the worry I would have with that, Mr. Leonard, is you talk about how we would have an easy out, if things
Yeah.
started going south. I think what we're trying to avoid is the easy out, or at least me
Oh,
personally.
yeah.
I
Oh,
want
yeah.
to do this once and be done.
Yes.
The other concern I had looking at your projected P&L, it's thin. It's a very thin
Oh, thin
margin.
margin, absolutely.
If you're off 5% on your revenue, you'll be underwater until 2033.
Mhm.
How confident are you, or do you have financial backstops?
I do have
to-
financial backing, and
Okay.
I'll give you the number. You can talk to him. He's been in the banking industry for 34 years.
Okay.
And he'll talk me up and say he has anything that I need. But also, that was the first year of the bankruptcy. So if you look at the reimbursement on that $216,000, that was all going to back debt. That number drops every year.
Okay.
So that won't be again. That was just with the 1.5 golf courses that I had Spring Meadow for 1.5 year, for half of that year. So
Okay. You mentioned that you could save 30,000 per employee. Does that effectively mean just no benefits?
no, they'll still get the 401k. I still match 4%, and they'll get health, dental, vision, all that stuff.
Then where are you saving 30,000 per person?
I think your benefits are a little more expensive than what I pay.
That's probably an understatement.
Yes.
Okay. think that's all the question that I had at this moment.
Yeah, thank you for verifying that 1.6 million, because I was very curious how you're going to increase sales that quickly. Out of that 1.6 for 2026, do you have a breakdown of what you're estimating on the restaurant side versus the golf side?
Golf side would be about 850. I would put down, and then the difference would be the restaurant.
So from the restaurant side of it, then the current owners become employees, right?
Yes.
And I'm guessing you talked with everybody. Everybody's on board with that.
Yes.
So why Sebring?
To be honest with you, it's cold in New Jersey this time of year, and it's always been like this was our place to vacation. We'd go down. We were a Disney World family when I was younger. We would drive down to Disney every year, and it's always been a dream to have a golf course in Florida. And my parents moved down to Fort Myers area in 2012, and my dad slowly was always looking for something, and then I signed up for Bid Prime membership, it's called. And then literally the next day I got an email saying the city of Sebring in Florida is putting out their golf course for bid. And I said, why the hell not?
If you haven't noticed, it's cold here too.
Yes, I brought it down with me. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it's been unusual for us. I just want to say, the Chapter 11 don't give me heartburn. I started a business in 1984, and not long after I got in business, I got behind the eight ball. And, you know, our government, whatever, they give us like Chapter 11 stuff. I didn't follow Chapter 11. I just went to all my suppliers and told them I would pay them. And every one of the suppliers today, I can call them and get anything I want because I honored what I said I would do. But I chose not Chapter 11, you know, and every one of them said, we're glad you honored what you did because it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And especially right after I started business, probably 5 years after I started business. And you know, when you get started, I started from the ground up.
Yeah.
So, so that doesn't give me heartburn. It kind of makes me honor you that you're honoring what you said you would do. So, but you know, we don't want it back.
Yeah.
We want your $200,000+ a
Yes.
year.
Yes.
So, I think that's the concern is that, but, I would recommend that you would give everybody here the letters that you said you
Absolutely,
have,
yeah.
so they can see, and if any of us want to call them and talk to them,
Yeah.
you know, that would be a
Yeah.
great help, you know, but I do know at the time, a young businessman, I was told not to take the job I took, and I was hard-headed and I took it.
Yeah.
And,
All been there.
when I got through it, I finished the job,
Yeah.
but I finished in a big old hole. So I understand you can get in trouble pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
You know, so thanks for being up front, because that's important. Front. I would like to see the letters.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sure everybody else would. But thanks for coming, and thank you for you know, tell us you're going to do. And I know the restaurant owners are here, or leasers. I know they would love to stay there.
Yeah. Mhm.
Uh,
And I know a lot of
realize it's-
people would love to see them stay. Too.
It's not a fancy restaurant, but it is. People like to go there.
Yeah.
And the drainage part, I know there's people sitting in the audience that's concerned about that because they live on the course. And
Yeah.
their yards get wet and
Mhm.
stuff, and you know, I know it's going to take some permitting to
Yeah. Mhm.
clean that up because the thing is, you're between two lakes.
Exactly. Well, I was out there this morning. You're below the Lake Jackson. You're below it
Right.
on the 15th floor there.
And the water table, you're dealing with the water table.
Yeah.
So cleaning the ditches
Mhm.
and getting that water moving because it goes out to the big lake and
Yeah.
to the little lake,
Mhm.
but you got to get it
Yeah.
to move, you know, so that would help a lot.
Okay.
But you gotta deal, you know, the water table's gonna be the water table.
Yeah.
You can't change that.
Mhm. Yeah.
But you can change flow
The flow. So,
and not deal with water.
really, it doesn't seem like you do.
So anyway, thank you. I appreciate it.
So Lenard deals with water. I deal with numbers all the time.
Yes.
So kind of going back to what Josh was saying too,
Yeah.
looking at the projections on that net income, it is, and I know there's different reasons strategically to keep things at
Oh,
a
yeah.
lower
Oh, yeah.
bottom line.
Mhm.
But seeing 15,000 projected net for the first year, that does seem really low. Is that just more of a strategic of you?
I'm always very, very conservative when I do numbers. Always very conservative. So 15,000 is what I think that's basically our bottom line. That's our zero number, is $15,000. So
Okay.
if I have to pull back a little bit here or there, just to make sure we stay there, that's fine. But I'm not in this to make money the first year there at all. I'm in this to do my stuff and then continually make money after that.
I have a hard time with all these people coming in saying they don't want to make money. It's just I'm not
Well,
used to
you
it.
would just be lying if you said you're going to make money right off the bat the first year of the golf course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Harrison, I wanted to make money from the first day, but I didn't.
Would you be able to qualify for any sort of a, I don't know exactly how this works, so
Performance bond or anything like
Yes.
that, yes. Yes.
you would,
Yes.
you have the underwriting
Yes.
to do one?
Yes.
For what kind of a term, like how long?
It could be, usually you update those yearly.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
that's what I
so
do
it'd
with
be
the
a
township.
rolling 1 year
Yeah,
performance
you do
bond.
it for the contract, like say I'm offering $200,000,
Mhm.
do a performance bond for $200,000 for the first year, and then if it's gonna be $206,000 next year, you do it for that next year, and continually
Okay.
keep doing that.
So-
Josh, could you explain that to everybody?
So the idea is right. He's promising a lease payment of 200,000 that goes up by 3% per year. And a bond would basically be like an insurance policy.
Yeah.
He failed, we would get paid for that amount of that term, right?
Right.
It's saying he has to perform for the contract. Now, what he's saying is it would be a rolling one year. So it's not like we would get 20 years worth of lease payments. If he defaulted, it'd be for that 1 year, continually moving forward to the next year, essentially. Am I saying
Yes.
this correctly?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Questions or comments?
Just appreciate your willingness and openness to cards on the table. Means a lot.
Are you planning on moving?
Yeah, actually, Lake Wales. I'll be going back and forth, basically. I'll be going back and forth, so.
Why Lake Wells?
Yeah, I have a baby and a girlfriend to bring down with me, too. They like Disney, so I want
We
to
like
somewhere in the
babies
middle.
and girlfriends.
So on that note, you're going to be on site.
I would be on site, like I told these guys, it would be 3.5 weeks per month in the winter,
Mhm.
and then 2.5 weeks per month in the summer, the slow season. Because I still got to go back up. I got to set things up there. I have all my employees up there have been with us over 20 years, so I trust them to get the things done. So obviously, in the beginning, I would be down here every day. But then when I get Fred and Renee and stuff like that into how I like things done and stuff like that, I can kind of go back and forth a little bit more.
And you're willing to work with Carter Hall and
Absolutely, yeah.
the
It's
paper
all-
says
yeah.
and on the lake.
Yeah, and fill it in on the lakes. Yeah, absolutely.
And, I know we talk about golf courses not making money, but south of here, they just built a 18-hole golf course.
Yeah.
And gonna build another one.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And, I work there.
Yeah.
I work around there.
Oh, yeah.
With the water. And, there's got to be something, they're gonna make money. whether
Those
they-
initiations help.
Yeah.
They help, but
Yeah, but they, spend a lot of money just buying the land.
oh yeah. Well, my whole thing, I like to provide private course conditions to public golf course. So I'm not going to charge an arm and a leg for a round like I put in the proposal. We are not raising any green fees or any membership fees for the first year. I want to be able to prove the things we're going to do to the golf course so the public actually sees it happening, and then maybe they'll be more comfortable paying a little bit more here and there. So I know that wasn't brought up, but that's what I would be doing.
Would you be bringing anyone with you from your staff at your existing company, or is it just going to be you and then everyone that
It'd
is
be
here?
for everybody that's here. Everybody that's here. Like I said, they are so undermanned right now. And like I said, the job they've done, being undermanned for the last year and a half, 2 years, is pretty remarkable. Those greens, when I first came down to look at them, I was shocked how, because you hear all these comments, this and that. I mean, they've gotten them so much better than the pictures I saw in 2023.
Oh, yeah.
They know what they're doing. They just, now the handcuffs are off, basically.
Do you have any capital improvement plans?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What do you have in mind?
Well, it's in the proposal.
Just refresh my memory.
All right,
I guess
so,
for the benefit of the
like
public.
I was talking about the carpets, adding seashell. Like first, I'm going to start with the T area, the green areas and stuff like that. But a crushed seashell, it's a nice white look, and it makes the turf pop even more. So I'm going to do that all around. I mean, I think Sebring's one of only 2 golf courses in the area that has continuous carpets around the entire golf course. So doing that all seashell, I think, would be a really good look. Like I said, the greens still need a little work here and there. Fred's got them back around 85%, I would say. But I wouldn't count that as a capital improvement per se. Like the Blackman's mentioned, the roofs by the maintenance building, they need to be addressed immediately. That would be day one stuff, basically. Their landscaping, I don't know if that's a capital improvement or not, but that would be day one stuff as well.
What about anything in the restaurant or pro shop?
The restaurant would be
plans?
rugs. It needs new rugs. It needs new insulation. It needs new windows. That's the first 3 things that come to mind with the restaurant. With the pro shop in there, the pro shop itself is pretty fine in the inside. There's some outside, some ceiling fans that would need to come out. Again, I would do the outdoor dining there because, like they said, it's a cheap way to get people to sit out there. And the building itself, I would have to do like a complete audit of it before I could sit here and say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But those are the few of the things I would start with to get the ball rolling.
Well, the building has good bones.
Oh, yeah.
Questions or comments? Okay. All right.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, we're moving a little faster than anticipated. I think we're still going to go ahead and take a very quick bathroom recess. So we will take a 10-minute break, and this meeting will recommence at 1:32 p.m.
Two.
10 minutes.
That's 9 minutes.
Okay, thank you. If everyone can find your seats, please. We are next going to move on to our third presentation. I'll give everybody a moment to sit down. This is going to be SportsMed Properties, and they are presenting to us remotely today. And Paul, I think we got everything set. Okay, we're good to go. All right, Mr. Stewart, you are up.
Thank you. Good afternoon to Jamie, Mayor, and the council members. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you today virtually. I assure you, not as large as on the big screen behind you that I've seen in the background. I am Mike Stewart. I'm Director of Construction Management at SportsMed Properties. Hopefully you can see my slide presentation. Please confirm that for me.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
The name Randy Russell is showing on the slide. Unfortunately, Randy, our CEO and president, could not be. Relationship going back many years with Jason, working on similar sports facilities across the southeast and the country. I've listened intently to the previous two proposals, and what we're presenting today is not just a redevelopment plan. It's a long-term vision to transform what we've heard and we know as an underutilized public asset, and transform that into a multi-use sports and recreation campus that serves not only the residents of Sebring, but attracts visitors and strengthens Sebring's economy and while respecting the city's financial realities. I am an avid golfer. My friends are golfers, and I enjoy the game of golf. I am also a parent and a newly grandparent. Our vision is to engage and involve parents and grandparents alike, which I would contest is a larger segment of the population than the golfing segment, and bring them to watch their children and grandchildren engage in competitive sports, learn from competitive sports, and grow into potentially future golfers and other athletes. Before I walk through the few slides that I have with me today, I want to make three key points here and emphasizing our approach to this project. First and foremost, we bring an expertise in sports facilities along the full life cycle from conception all the way through and into operations. Our experience is specific to sports facilities, multi types of sports facilities for recreation, competitive sports. We're very good at planning, design, development, and scheduling and cost control for these types of facilities where durability and operation performance are critical once it becomes operational. We have coined the phrase worry hard early approach. And what I mean by that is we work very diligently early on in a collaborative process alongside the city to identify risk and trade-offs and develop key decisions early in the process so that when you're fully included along the way, you're empowered to make decisions with us. This isn't just Sportsman Properties. This is a public-private partnership, and partnership to the truest sense. And we want you included. This creates a transparency that reduces surprises and builds trust throughout the project. Our involvement with you goes well beyond design and construction. This could be as much as a 30-year relationship. So we want that trust to begin day one and continue all the way through. The third thing I'd like to point out to you is, and I touched on this briefly, is we have a proven ability to establish measures and structure our projects to control quality and cost and schedule. While they function and look nice when completed and opened with a ribbon cutting, we want a durable facility that can stand the test of athletic use. So what we look at is early stakeholder alignment, so we know we're building appropriately what works well within the performa, and we have an active oversight. This face you see very large on the screen is the face you would see often during the course of the project. And we focus on delivering what was promised and agreed upon during the course of the projects, beginning early in the planning stages. And we do that, and we establish those goals and milestones in a collaborative way. And we appreciate taking measurements on how well we're succeeding during the course of the project. We, through the RFP process, do understand the city goals, and our approach, we believe, best aligns with those goals. We want to focus through our effort on an economic impact, positive economic impact, not a loss leader, and employment enhancement. Not only keeping jobs, increasing employment opportunities through this project. Financial stability, we want it to be profitable for the city. And we want to expand recreation opportunities. So all of that being said, we feel like we're the best suited to put that under our umbrella, and we're qualified, done these facilities across the Southeast, and as far west as West Texas, where we're now working on a project, one of the largest facilities in the country, might I add. And we do this by relieving the city of operational burden. And I'll come back to that later in the slide, but there is a key component to the team that will work and be in partnership with the city, just as we would be. Continuing on, I want to just point out some demographics. Some of these you know well. Those in the community participating probably know this from the traffic, but it's important. That we believe, by the early work from Jason Beaudry, that this market and demand supports this project that we're presenting. Within a 60-mile radius, I'm pointing out here, there's a population of 500,000 people with high youth sports participation. If you go even further out to 120 miles, you're looking at 6 million people, and you start to get into the regions of Tampa, Orlando, West Palm Beach. 3-hour drive, 75% of Florida's population as a whole reside. What we're proposing are activities that are in high growth among youth sports, soccer, baseball, lacrosse, and we believe with the population growth, demographics, that there is a shortage of high-quality tournament-ready facilities, and this could fill a need for sure. So we have a vision, I want to make it key in our presentation that this vision is something that while we share it, it's something we want to share with the city, and they have that same vision. We're not going to be dependent upon one sport. The previous presentations, again, applaud them. They're focused on golf, and we will include golf, but we're trying to reimagine the municipal golf course as a flexible, community-centric destination. We would maintain a 9-hole executive-style course with multiple tees, including focus on adding youth tees under the USGA guidelines that would allow organizations like First Tee and others that are youth focused to utilize the remaining 9-hole course and promote youth golf, which right now it's the second fastest growing group segment of golfers, only behind 18 to 34 year olds. So and that's going back to 2006 for those numbers. So while we would improve the golf course for discuss some of those improvements, we would be integrating broader recreational uses, and I mentioned soccer and baseball and softball as 3 of those. That these were addressed and identified in the 2023 Tourism Development Commission (TDC) study that I'm sure as council members you are aware of. And we're after positioning Sebring as a competitive year-round destination. We want to maximize land efficiency with the flexible turf surfaces for soccer, baseball, softball, and other activities. You are aware of the work that Geoservices, Tim Gotti, are currently doing or planning to do next to us. So our operational strategy, again, I mentioned reimagine the golf course with modern amenities, enhanced playability. We're developing the flat fields and diamonds that would enable multi-use sports play. Okay. We, as the others, would maintain and renovate the pro shop and restaurant. We understand the restaurant operator is doing a fine job, and that would be there and improved to serve both golfers and others in the community. And those jobs or opportunities would be retained. But we also look at this as a destination and from a community standpoint for family components. And we mentioned here playgrounds and walking trails and event spaces and a dog park. We go through a collaborative programming phase and we'll look at other opportunities. Pickleball is a growing sport. That could be something that we're integrating in other locations that could be looked at as an opportunity here, and I just make that as one mention. But along with us, and I've previously noted this, there would be a private operator. Once the facility is built, it doesn't fall on the shoulders of the city's Parks and Recreation staff to operate this facility. We believe in hiring a skilled operator that would actually maintain and oversee daily operations, have the staff at hand to manage all activities, and take any operational risk out from the city, but still preserve that public ownership, public-private partnership. I'll speak more to that very soon. This slide, and I believe we included some of this in our proposal response materials, is a conservative financial model that if there was an estimated $20 to $30 million expense, that would be to create the fields, enhance on the golf course, and enhancements to the golf course, and then the other amenities I've mentioned, improvements to the pro shop and the restaurant, walking trails. We see that this would be a net positive revenue income beginning in year one and continuing. This is a projection of 5 years. This is a model that we put together using information from similar operated and maintained facilities that are now built in the Southeast. Our proposal differs in that I feel like we're not looking at this as a loss leader. We're looking at this day one to be, or year one to be profitable, and we actually believe that our profitability and our efforts would enhance that of hotel owners, as the first presenter is, and others within the community, retailers. So this is an initial projection. As part of our process, we actually had in our pre-development put real construction dollars to agreed programs and have a pro forma with real operational projections from a qualified operator presented to you to show what we believe real-time numbers would be before we're turning dirt. So I'll speak to that in just a moment, but that's part of our pre-development effort. But this again is just a model that we believe accurately describes what a facility like this could do. Economic impact. And I'll show you the site plan here shortly, but our belief is, and again, this is historic numbers that we've seen, real numbers in the last 5 years, that a facility like this could generate approximately $6.5 million in direct spending into the community. With the programs that are brought in, the tournaments, the local programs for youth, regional, national tournaments. You have locally Airstream Ventures that I understand is working currently with Sebring or in the community to bring tournaments and other sports activities using assets like Airstream Ventures and others. We believe an estimated 150,000 visitors annually and 40,000 hotel room nights would occur as a result of adding 16 more diamonds and 8 flat fields, with the diamonds being multi-use on the flat fields when baseball or softball is in season and soccer is not. This by adding the 16 fields and including the Max Long facility, this actually would create 24 total fields, the second largest diamond complex, and the largest synthetic turf complex in the state of Florida. That's something you can market and is tangible to sell to these tournaments that are trying to find great locations, all weather locations to play. And again, that would attract regional, national tournaments. It would drive significant visitor volume, visitor spending to retailers, visitor spending to hotels, and support local businesses. That's once operational. And that does not even factor the construction dollars that we bring in out of that $20 to $30 million project volume that will be spent, from local subcontractors. Usually 80% of the work performed is local subcontractors when we build these facilities. I mentioned working closely with Airstream Ventures. There are others as well, but understanding they're doing a fine job, we would definitely reach out with them to them immediately upon selection to help us begin to lay the groundwork of the program and to understand 12 and 24 and 36 months out, once things are beginning to go, to schedule those tournaments. We're doing a facility in Odessa, Texas, 100 acres, 12 baseball diamonds, 10 soccer fields, and an indoor facility. And they're already scheduling tournaments, and we broke ground 2 months ago. So that's the way these properties work, especially with an excellent operator. I want to be sure, and we've submitted qualifications, but we feel as though we're a highly qualified team. We build sports facilities. Sports med is in our name. D1 training facilities is part of our repertoire of facilities that we've done over the years. We've built those across the country. There for rehabilitation and training of athletes. Indoor and outdoor sports facilities is what we have focused on for a number of years. We have we provided some of those credentials to you, but while we're very good at the development side, we also know that we want to surround ourselves with adequate and highly qualified team partners. And that begins with a construction team partner. We've noted Lee Lewis Construction, who we're working with now. They're nationally known for sports facilities, community-based sports facilities, and educational-based sports facilities. Geosurface Tincati is another name that you're familiar with. They're the largest turf supplier, I think, internationally and nationally. And we bring them in early in the planning and design stages so that we're thinking about things like turf design and drainage. We've heard drainage brought up several times. We know there's mitigated drainage to occur on this site. But we bring these team partners involved so that we mitigate risk early. This gets back to my worry hard early comment that I had at the beginning of the presentation. Because mitigating risk, controlling costs, controlling schedule, that ensures predictable delivery, okay? We also work with a number of highly qualified architects and engineers, civil engineers. That would be probably a higher demand need for a facility like this when we're looking at turf and fields more than vertical construction. But be that as it may, we look for those, or we have actually, those qualified engineers that are accustomed to working alongside Geosurfaces and us to design the fields for durable play and to address those issues like drainage and runoff and water quality management. So we have those resources a lot from Florida that are at our disposal. And then I did mention, and I touched on earlier, that we would highly recommend engaging a nationally recognized operator. It's a key team player. If you're entrusting us for the bricks and mortar and fields, and we know that it's a three-legged stool, that an operator also is a key component to a facility like this. And so we have some we can recommend that have a proven and tested ability to profitably operate these facilities. They have a track record of doing so, and they understand the dynamics required to balance community use, and that's important. So that,
Mr. Stewart, just want to let you know you've got 10 minutes left.
Excuse me?
Just want to let you know you've got 10 minutes left on your time.
Okay, yeah, we'll be finishing up. so that those within the community can utilize the facility in addition to attracting regional and national tournaments. We want this to be a profitable year-round, financially sustainable asset and revenue-generating asset to the city. Just a few more slides. The structured lease in our proposal was discussed. We would do a credit tenant lease structure, which preserves the city's flexibility based on the credit of the facility. And then the operating revenue covers expense and capital repayment. We as the developer take the initial 100% of capital operating funds and at risk under a GMP agreement. And then the city is a public side partner of the lease during its term, and we've proposed a 30-year term in our document. At the end of 30 years, paying the lease back, the city would have free ownership of the assets. There are the advantages of this credit tenant lease advantages. They're treated similar to debt service. The financing costs are much lower than traditional lending. Our nonprofit lenders that provide this service, and there are a few that we can bring to the table, they're with credit excellent by the city. The rates are very, very attractive. So again, this is a quick site utilization plan. It's showing where one concept where we would take a portion of the golf course and transform that into 8 flat fields that could also be used as 16 diamonds. And then that flexible use is you more for bang for your money, so to speak. It doesn't show walking trails, but we would look into walking trails. We would take a look at if it makes any operational sense to include something like pickleball, and then we would include amenities like concessions for those sports activities and restrooms, obviously. And then again, I think a focus will be just like everyone else, new access to these areas, improvements to the golf course, improvements to the pro shop and restaurant. That would be part of our early programming analysis. And then again, long-term, looking well ahead, this is all pervious, mostly pervious material, looking at drainage improvements and environmental mitigation that's probably needed now, as I understand. I do want to note that we are in statutory compliance with the various statutes that I've outlined here. That is discussed in our proposal. Needless to say, there are other similar facilities already in Florida, and then we fall under the guidelines and follow these statutes to make sure that everything is appropriate and legal. Annual appropriations remain subject to your city council approval. I'll point that out. And so that'll be an annual vote. Quickly, and I know I'm about out of time, I mentioned the lean project management, and this is just touches on the fact that this worry hard early approach where we want to empower you to make decisions. We're very transparent in how we plan and design these facilities. We have charrettes and workshops with stakeholders, including the city, especially the city, and then we prepare operational pro formas well in advance and a control budget well in advance before we go into formal design, and it becomes our guidebook. In closing, we appreciate this opportunity. We feel we're not a golf course operator strictly. We're a sports facility developer. We understand how to work with sports facility operators to include golf and soccer and lacrosse and baseball and other sports. We believe we're uniquely qualified for a project of this nature, and we believe this is an opportunity that's differing in that it brings and enhances the sports for youth and the families locally that would have children and grandchildren that would participate. I appreciate this opportunity.
All right, thank you, Mr. Stewart. We're now going to open it up to council questions and comments for a 30-minute period. Who would like to start? All right, well, I've got a couple then. So, Mr. Stewart, if I understand this setup, you are the development company. The city would be ultimately on the hook for either the profits or losses of this facility, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
You're the leaseholder.
Right. And so 20 to 30 million is the estimated cost that you put together just based on kind of a rough overview of the plan.
That is a rough overview based on similar scope. Trying to put it in today's dollars. As I mentioned earlier, we would want to go through a programmatic phase and early on to ensure that we've got the right mix of fields and scope that matches a profitable operating pro forma.
Okay. So one thing that I don't know if you're aware of this or not, so we are working on a potential much smaller scale plan like this at the Max Long facility with Synergy Sports. We're in the early stages to see if it's viable. If council
not familiar with all the details.
Okay, so just in the Max Long area and kind of updating fields, turf, and that sort of thing. I think Synergy is the one who are preparing some of those plans and projections for us. If that was to go through and your proposal, how would those work together, or would they be at odds with each other?
And we're seeing that as working together.
Okay.
They're in close enough proximity that they would be marketing to regional and national tournaments, state, regional, and national, so that utilization of those fields could occur with one use. So we see that as an enhancement to Max Long, not as a competitive situation.
In the way you would envision this, a single operator would operate the entirety of that Max Long and the
I would believe that would be best, yes.
Okay.
I would like to know more about the Max Long, but yes, that would be our recommendation.
Would that operator also operate the 9-hole course, or is that generally a separate discipline?
In some that we have worked with, they have that capability, and I would certainly recommend that be entertained. It could be that our dollars could be spent to improve on the golf course, and we find that there is another operator that should be discussed strictly for golf.
Okay. I just had two
I
other.
wouldn't rule out either. It makes a lot of sense for the youth tournament sports that one operator be involved.
Okay.
Team sports.
I have two other just quick questions, and I'll pass this to someone else.
Yes, sir.
The first one, there's a lot of discussion in the state legislature about ad valorem tax changes. Does that, if any of those go into effect, does it mess up the financing structure of a project like this? Meaning we might not have the backstop from a tax base that we previously had.
You know, we're looking at. We'd have to look a lot closer at how you're structuring, or if you're doing hotel tax contributions or not.
Mhm.
You know, and that can vary by community. So if the tax structure changes, we would want to know and look at what those the changes could be and see if that should be or should not be included in pro forma.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It
I
does.
think it's a very difficult to not to ask to answer a hypothetical, but I do know often the tax laws do play a role in the pro forma.
Okay. I guess for your knowledge, we don't directly benefit from TDC, tourist development tax revenue. That goes directly to the county, not the municipality. So that, I guess that would be my
Okay.
concern. And then my last question, you mentioned you've done projects similar to this in other cities in Florida. Would you be able to provide us with those cities, and how long have they been operational for? I know that I'm
Well,
asking you a lot of questions here, but
For we can provide you a list of facilities that we've done,
Mhm.
but I mentioned that we have operators that are operating facilities in
right.
Florida, so I can do both. Yes.
okay. All right. I'd be interested in both.
Yes, if you'd like to have Jamie, I can follow that up with Jamie on that.
Okay.
provide that information.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Stewart, on that note as well, generally speaking, with municipalities that you have worked with, are they generally always showing a profit, or are they subsidizing any losses? Can you go over a little bit of those numbers, if you're able to?
Generally, within a 7-year projection, and we do 7 to 10-year projections, they're profitable by year 3 to 4. Some are profitable in year 1. It depends on what type of facilities and what kind of investment they had to make initially, and other factors. Some understood that without naming specific names, but we have one that has an indoor and outdoor facility currently that our operation projections are that it's profitable in year 3 and beyond. But they understood that the gap in the first 2 years was worth that expense, that the first cost expense, because of the facilities that they wanted to provide.
Thank you. When would the lease payment-
Ideally, it would be every year, but in reality, sometimes we're balancing the demand and the request and the actual first cost with how we can ramp up that with the operator. That's why we want to work collaboratively with the operator from day one.
Okay. Yep. Thank
We're
you.
excellent at first cost answers, but we like to have operation input as well.
Thank you. And then, when would the lease payment start? Is that when operations start themselves, or is it when you break ground? When
And ask me that again.
when would those lease payments start?
At the completion of
Completion.
the facility.
Okay.
Yeah, we're fully at risk until it's completed.
Thank you.
And I think we put some time frames in our proposal. Again, scope and your decision making process may influence it, but I mean, I think we were 18 to 24 months in our proposal, and that would not be too surprising to go from commencement of programming and planning through construction.
And Mr. Stewart, what happens after 30 years? So is there a plan for the operator to continue that contract, or is it completely back on the city to maintain the facility that was built?
So to be clear, the 30-year agreement is a development agreement, and that's based on the cost of lease payments, okay? Your operator agreement can vary in a shorter term and extend beyond that. So that's a separate it's a management agreement, and the cost of that is normally factored into your operating expense. So you may entertain proposals no different than you're doing today for how do you use this land, city-owned property asset, how best to utilize that. You may entertain 3 or more operator proposals and discuss different terms and what that looks like.
Okay. Thank you.
questions for Mr. Stewart or Sports Med? Okay. Mr. Mayor, any? All right, thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, so the next step on our agenda is to open it up for mayor and council discussion and remarks briefly, and after that, we'll go to public comment. Is there anything that anyone would like to mention or say after hearing all the proposals? I mean, I can start. I got a few things from each presentation. The only major concern I have with the Blackman proposal, of course, is the lease term. We would be wonderful to kick in some money per year, but I do understand the financial realities of negative 250 is worse than one when it comes to dollars. Really, it's the lease term that is my I think only hang up that I can think of on that one right now. I would much rather see something closer to 50 or a 25 with a 25-year renewal, or even a 50 with a 50-year renewal. For H&L Golf Group, the idea of the payment is very nice. I'm concerned about performance and being able to deliver that. Especially, I know there was some explanation of the bankruptcy, but that happening so soon is a big red flag to me, and I would have some concerns there. Would want to see some vetting and definitely a performance bond if we selected that presentation. And the SportsMed one is a really cool concept. We've kind of visited this in the past, and to me, the price tag is very high. It still puts the city at risk on this, and I'm our representative to the TDC, so I've heard a whole lot of sports marketing and tourism, and it is growing and profitable. But it does freak me out a little bit to put the municipality at risk like that, especially since we don't directly get tourism development tax funds. The county's a slightly different story because they have the TDC to backstop them if facility maintenance costs are more than expected and profit is less. We don't have that luxury, so that kind of freaks me out from that standpoint. Anyone else have anything that they want to mention, or
I agree on the term of the lease. I think 5 years, plenty. I just had my 6th great grandchild, and in 90 years, she probably wouldn't be. H&L, anybody's been in business has had financial trouble, unless they just got lots of money. But with a performance bond, you really can't lose.
well, but that performance bond is a rolling 1 year, so we could be back here in 2 years. And that's what I'm trying to.
Well, I understand that, but we could be back here in 2 years with any of it.
True.
So anyway, and the thing, TDC proposed that. I think it's a great idea, but finances gets me.
I agree with that. All what y'all have said, similar concerns and thoughts. Long lease, performance for H&L, and then this is similar to what we've considered before for Sportsman. So all the same.
Okay. Roland. Okay. Harrison.
Yeah. One, thank you, Jamie. I know a lot of work has been put into this for a long period of time. Thank you for the 3 presenters for putting in the RFP and working with us and figuring out what's the best thing for the city and for the taxpayers and for the not just getting out of a long or a short-term problem with losing money with the golf course, but what's good for the next 6 months, the next year, 5 years, 10 years, and going into the future when none of us are here. So I think this is a good foundation to set of what's the best thing for us next. I think looking holistically, if everybody's proposal was at 100% and best case scenario, there's really, really good options for the city too. if things don't go perfect and don't go to plan 100%, then I think the city has a lot of liability. So I don't think there's a perfect answer that shields the city. No one has a crystal ball of what's going to happen in the next 5 years. So we need to do what's best. Looking at all the information, I think all three proposals have a huge amount of value. So starting with the sport med at the, and then moving up. What I would like to see, and I don't know if this is realistic or reasonable, but I would love to sit down with county commissioners and looking at Highlands County as a holistic view too of what do we want to do together with TDC, commissioners, council, and see if there's a plan that we can really work on this side of it together. Is that Max Long? Is that the Muni? Is that the sports complex downtown? I think there's ways that we can figure this out together and answer a lot of questions. I talked a little bit to Casey today with the kind of the future of what that could look like. I have some questions on just even getting TDC dollars. Is that something that TDC would be able to support the city if there is kind of that stopgap? And if the city potentially is losing money for the first couple of years, do we have to fund that loss for the first couple of years, or can somebody step in and help us out, knowing that long term it's going to benefit every place? I would like to see that joint meeting happen, if that's something that we could think about and work on. I think it has the highest benefit if everything goes perfectly. But I also am very hesitant about the lease payment of 1.8 million. And then if something doesn't go right, and we're kind of in the same spot that we're at right now, that we're funding a loss, and that's I think clearly what we don't want to do. I want to make sure that we're covered there. H&L, they're excited about the idea of having money coming back to the city consistently. I share similar views with Josh too, and a little bit worrisome too, but I think that could be a great option. And then with the Blackmans, appreciate all your time and effort into this. Like we talked about too, I'd feel better about maybe changing up the lease terms a little bit. Just 99 is a lot. But in general, that's where I'm at with all of it.
That's some good proposals, but I think what we really need to do is a long-term economic benefit to the community, not just the community, but to the county. What is the best overall? What's going to propel us into the future, and what's going to do that? So there's a lot that we have to weigh out. I agree with a lot of your comments and a lot of your comments. I think, a debt service position is pretty stout. If something doesn't go right, then what happens? We're stuck, and we have to renovate. But I think that's really something that we've got to really kind of weigh is what do we see as the best economic side for the community. So
All right, so next up is public comment. Before we begin, just want to remind everyone, we do a 3-minute timer per person on this. 5 minutes, excuse me. 5 minutes. When you come up, you can just line up, state your name. One thing I will mention, just a reminder again, this is a workshop only. We're not taking a vote after this. After public comment, there will be a time for presenters to do follow-up and maybe address anything that's been brought up by council or the public. But we will vote on this particular RFP at our council meeting on February 19th, which is a Thursday at 5:30 p.m. here in these chambers. And there will be an opportunity for public comment again at that time. And of course, in the intervening 2 weeks, everyone is welcome to kind of weigh in and contact any one of us if you'd like. So we do have a council meeting at 5:30 tonight. So that puts an implicit time limit on public comment. I hope we're not here for 3 hours on that. 5 minutes per person. When you come up to the microphone, please state your name. Try and pull the microphone close to your mouth so we can hear it and hear it on the recording. Okay, great. Paul said, disregard what I just said. Don't touch the mic. But please state your name for public record, and you don't need to raise your hand. You can just form a line and have at it. Terry, you're up. And the mayor will run the time clock.
My name is Terry Mendel, And I recently completed a 3-year term on city council, which I very much enjoyed and appreciate all y'all do. And I termed out in April at the end of March this last year. And I was really enjoying my retirement time. And I was keeping an eye on this particular project because I had been involved with so many things that have to do with our future for Sebring. And I just felt like I needed to come back on to city council, so I am running again to try to bring some more business friendly voices and common sense. Because I've worked with the Blackman family for the last 4+ years. I've watched what they went through from the beginning. I've had people ask me, well, why didn't they tie down the golf course when they first began? And I've had it explained to me the reason why they didn't tie down the golf course is because they were very upfront with their plans for Harder Hall and their plans for a resort. They were assured by the city that there wasn't going to be a problem getting the golf course later on to make this outstanding idea of Harder Hall being revived and being even better than it was in the past. I'm an old timer from Sebring, and I remember how glorious Harder Hall was, and we would love to have that again. And in my time with the Blackman family, I've been amazed at their love for the city of Sebring, their integrity, their plans, their excitement. And I've seen a lot of goal changing, or is that the right word when you move the goal around with the city? A lot of obstacles thrown in their way, which didn't need to be, because common sense for the big vision of Sebring is that we would have a beautiful Harder Hall resort, 5-star gold, wonderful high-tier resort with a golf course. And I've seen everything that the Blackmans have done. They have had unbelievable problems with Harder Hall, and they've addressed them very carefully and studiously, strategically, and they're progressing. Same way with the Wachovia building downtown, and I'm so grateful to the Blackman family for coming in and loving Sebring, and for the top tier people in business that they have brought to invest in Sebring, and quite frankly, are not interested in the current city council attitude toward business, non-friendly. But anyway, I believe in speaking a little frankly, and this is my opportunity to do it. And it would be a terrible shame for Sebring, Florida, if we don't support the Blackmans and let them continue to develop our Sebring and our downtown, our Harder Hall resort, and some of the ideas they have for our downtown. Robert Blackman especially has spent hours with me on projects that have nothing of any benefit to him and his family. Mainly Historical Society. He's very much for the whole family for preservation of our historical buildings, and I really appreciate that. And the integrity of these folks is, we could not have prayed in a better bunch of people to come and save our Harder Hall. That's been on the edge of demolition for years and years and years.
One
And it-
minute, Terry.
has a bright future now, and we need to be supporting the Blackmans, be respectful to them, be doing everything we can to help them, to help Sebring. So if you hadn't guessed, I'm totally in support for them. The other group, how are you going to come in, use the same equation and come up with a better end result of all of a sudden you're going to make all this money? It's not feasible. And then I love the sport. As a grandma of 8, I love the sports idea, but that's for another place. The Harder Hall has historically been a golf course, connected with Harder Hall, but thank you.
I would imagine there's some other comment.
Haven't started yet.
1 minute.
Jeff Carlson, for the record, that was an interesting campaign speech for one issue. I really enjoyed it. By the way, Ms. Haley, while I'm here, have we gotten a response to my public records request from Ms. Mendel?
There was no report.
Okay, thank you.
to be given, so.
Back to the topic at hand. I wanted to remind council that just doing an RFP does not encumber you to make a decision or to pick one or the other. You can reject them all. Gives you the opportunity to look at other options. All this is a, hey, let's get some ideas on the table. Let's get some presentations and see how it goes. Second, if the goal for the city is to save money, then we're based on their numbers, by the way, which I disagree with, 400 to 500 to 2 million, whatever the numbers are. And if that's really the goal, then let's think about other ways we can do this without the opportunity cost that you're about to have. The county just went out and purchased additional land to expand recreational facilities. I'm not sure what the total is, but I'm sure it was millions. So the land might be losing you a few $100,000 a year, but all parks do. Every park you have in the city is a net loser. That's just the way that it goes. From Max Along to the Circle Park, which probably costs you almost as much as the golf course the way it's maintained right now. But the opportunity cost to me is the important thing, that you've got a space of 108 acres in the middle of Sebring. The southwest side of Sebring is going to grow fast as it has in the past. It's the only direction to go other than to the northeast. Let's think about this not as ball fields, soccer fields, or baseball fields. Think about it like Bonnet Creek Park in Lakeland. I would encourage you to go look at their website. If you haven't been there, I think some of you have been there. It's a beautiful park. Thinks outside the box. It gives not only kids, but every age group the opportunity to recreate on a huge facility with multifaceted recreational opportunities, something that the city could be proud of for years. In doing that, we could put to Commissioner Councilman Havery's suggestion, have a workshop with RPAC, with the county, with TDC, come up with some sort of ideas. When John and I first started the playground committee probably 25 years ago that we started with Max Long, we literally went to elementary schools with white pieces of paper and threw them on tables with elementary school kids and said, what do you guys want? And we went and built that. So I think there's a way to maximize the space, preserve it for future generations, and give us true recreational opportunities. Even Monday at Mr. Shoup's downtown meeting, there were several people in a group of business people saying that there's not enough stuff for kids to do. Let's give them things other than baseball and soccer. Give them something that gives them a lot of recreational opportunities in the city. Thank you for your time. I appreciate everyone's willingness to spend so much time on this effort, and good luck.
Christopher Tuffley. I tend to, I support a lot of what Mr. Carlisle just said. We have a unique opportunity to think outside the box, and I'm worried that we're just sort of following the same old trail. Some specific questions I have would be, how does changing an 18-hole golf course to a 9-hole golf course, how is that going to change the people that would be coming here or not? I have questions about artificial turf. I'm just not so sure about that. And finally, and I'm really sorry to bring this up, but I worry about our country over the next several years. I worry about the economic situation that we're facing as a nation. And I worry that if we put all of our hopes for the future into drawing people in to spend money, that the money may not be there for people to spend. I think we really have to consider a lot of different things. Thank you.
I'm George Hensley, a resident of Sebring. I've got to say, how much longer? are we going to, how much longer are we going to manage or work on this project? Understanding that we really want the best for the city of Sebring, but how much longer? And also, as I've listened to these presentations today, I had no idea that somebody was going to come in and want to turn an 18-hole golf course into a 9-hole golf course. And I would doubt that you would be supported by the residents of our city if you selected that option. But anyway, the point is that, to me, and while I'm not necessarily agreeing that our city council is not business visioned, by the way, I disagree with that point, but I certainly think that having a quality resort and resort golf course here, as you look around other areas where there are resorts and people like to go there, that's an important impact to the community. And I think that, to me, the Blackman family have brought to our attention quality, at least as I see the presentation, which needs to be vetted, but brought to our attention the quality people that have done operations of this nature. They have a vision for making it a resort type golf course, and I realize that that's important. It's important for me, and as a golfer as well, not so much anymore, but as a golfer as well who would like to play on the city course, I would expect that it would be as well to be able to be done at a reasonable cost. People go to resort golf courses and pay a lot of money to play there. Think Pebble Beach. We're not that, but just think about that. And so anyway, I just want to share with you that I think we need to really evaluate. We've asked for RFPs. We got them. I think the people of the city wanted to say, you know, don't just accept one. See what else is out there. How much longer are we going to say, let's see what else is out there? And we had the proposals. We've had folks make presentations now. And I think it's time for the city council to do a reasonable thing in thinking about having a resort and a resort golf course here. And there are ways that you can work that out, I believe. Thank you.
Bobby Lee, can you hear me all right?
Sir.
Interestingly, I'm only going to talk about the lease concept. About 20 years ago, I was the lead, if you will, in developing a Marriott hotel in downtown Kabul, Afghanistan. Kind of a strange thing to be doing. But what we worked out with the Afghan government, who owned the property that we got, 10 acres downtown, was that they gave us a 50-year lease, and it could be extended another 50 years. The unique thing was, it was our option to extend it, not the Kabul Afghan government. So, just thought I'd let you know that there are other ways to do things.
Hi, Verna Flexen. I just want to thank everybody. I don't think y'all are stalling things off, and I appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to really investigate things. And we already know they are going to make a decision. It's been announced that they are going to be making a decision on the 19th, so I don't think that's an issue. I am happier with the idea of someone who actually is going to pay for leasing the golf course. And I think that it's a nice idea to keep what we have and improve on it. So I think that's the best deal. I too don't like the idea of a 99-year lease, basically for free.
My name is Diane Juvie, and I have kind of a unique perspective because I grew up in St. Petersburg. My father's and grandfather's medical offices were 2 blocks from the Vinoy Hotel. So I grew up during the time when the Vinoy Hotel was closed. What has happened to St. Petersburg with the renovation of the Vinoy Hotel, which was like $92 million to renovate, seemed crazy at the time, is extraordinary. I don't know if anybody has seen the arts center that St. Petersburg has become. It's an entirely different town. My brother's a police dispatcher in town. It's a different city than it was. You all have made such an incredible start with this Home and Garden TV show. I'm in the summers, I'm in North Carolina now, and people have heard of Sebring now. If you go ahead and support the Blackmans who have that vision, because they lived with the Vinoy Hotel also, create a resort, people will come. I mean, I saw Dutch people last week on the streets of downtown Sebring. I would suggest don't get sidetracked. We do need these sports facilities. I'm 100% for them. We have a lot of land in this county and probably in the city of Sebring that doesn't have to be what will shut off this amazing family's project and make it not viable. So that's my suggestion, is that you just stick with the family that has already invested tremendous amounts of money and keep going. You guys are doing amazing things in this town. And as I say, for the first time, people know where I'm from. So thank you.
Hi, Frank Cardesano, belong to the Historical Society. I know 2 of you kind of sort of I've talked to, the rest I don't know. I've watched what's gone on, and just listening to today's presentations, one man said we're going to turn it into a sports facility, and I was thinking of the YMCA area, and I said, okay, we're already doing that. The other guy came in and said, listen, I'm going to pay you $250,000, and I'm going to take over something that's lost $300,000. So in my small mind, I'm going, wait, we're losing $300,000, so he's going to make that $300,000 and come up with another $250,000, so that's $500,000. If you guys aren't smart enough, and I can't see you being dumb, to make it work, how is this other man geniusly going to change it and make it profitable for you? Question number 1, I heard, yeah, the bonds. The other thing is, talk about karma. You guys made a promise as a group. You reassured that family that this was going to go forward in that way. He wants to develop it. He wants to make it nice. He wants to make it grandiose. And he's not going to threaten us, the common people. Oh, you're going to pay $100 to come to the golf course. No, he's already pronounced the fact that I'm going to keep the fees the same. But what I'm going to do is enhance the thing. I'm going to draw. We've got the facility. We've got the thing. But you're on the verge of making this a great city. We've got Sebring Racetrack. I work there occasionally. I talk to people from all over the world. They know Sebring. You go down the street, a couple of towns up Frost Roof. Where's Sebring? Duh. We have the ability to do that. And that will bring in tax dollars, revenue. This is the money that we need as a city to grow. Local money. Not money that goes to the county. Local money. Please, use your heads. Vote responsibility. Vote that way. These guys have proven their track record. They've laid money out of their pockets. How many of us have done that? How many have risked everything for something? And we made a promise as a city council back then. Yeah, it's going to happen. Honor your promise. Karma's a witch. She doesn't listen to man-made rules. Be wise.
So before you come up, sir, I don't normally interject in public comment. I do want to make it clear for the record that at least 3 of council members up here were not even in office at the time that they bought the golf course. So, okay. All right. Well, I just want to make clear, because you said we made a promise, and I want to make it clear that is not the case before we move on. I'm just making that comment. I don't want to go back and forth. I'll be happy to talk to you afterwards. So, okay. Yes, sir.
Hi, Dan Diltz. I've been a resident of Sebring for about 10 years, and originally from Punxsutawney, PA, but don't hold that against me for the groundhog yesterday. Anyway, just I want to make it clear, I've been to these meetings, and I live in Sun and Lake, but I play golf at the Muni occasionally. You know, I'm up there, but I still come down and support them. And I just want to relate something that in Pennsylvania, a project similar to what they're working on, Bedford Springs Resort. I don't know if anybody knows that. Look it up. It predates the Civil War. Same situation, closed for 30 years. Desolate. Kept the golf course open. It was a bunch of weeds. But the hotel was closed for probably 25 years. Someone came in and bought it, restored it. And to put things in perspective, Bedford, PA is a smaller town than Sebring. Big hotel. I don't know how many rooms are at the hotel. Do you know approximately how many rooms are at Harder Hall? Yeah, I don't know. Well, this Bedford Springs had probably 250 units. The closest big city would be Pittsburgh, 2.5 hours, similar to here. Washington, D.C., 3 hours away. They restored that hotel. Same thing that they're going through now. It took them a couple of years to do it. Redid the golf course. Okay, this closed, and this place is out in the middle of nowhere, just sort of like Sebring. It's very successful. Not that they would sell it because it's a lease. They ended up restoring the hotel, and there's clips on the internet you can see. And it was so successful that the Omni hotel chain bought that resort, and it has been in business for over 20 years. Very profitable. It's a little expensive to play golf there, but they kept it open to the public with golf packages, things like that. It's a very similar situation to what you're looking at. The same size of an area of town, and like they took a chance on doing that. They worked with the local people, and it's been very successful. You know, and it's just something to look at, that what they're trying to do is very similar to that, and it's it can be done. I mean, and the people come. It's not like, you know, that it was successful in the fact that even though they're out in the country, the resort having all the amenities and things like that. And they years ago, prior to the Civil War, the hotel was the summer residence of Buchanan, the 15th president, the only one from Pennsylvania. But this place goes back 200 years, but it was originally, they went in there for the mineral springs of the healing waters is why this place started. But it's very historical. Be something for you guys to look up to see, you know, the history of Bedford Springs compared to what the Blackmans are trying to do, and I fully support them. Thank you.
I'm Charlie Lowrance. As you may know, I was on the city council, and I take great exception to people saying that there was a promise made from the previous city council in 2017 when Mr. Blackman and his party bought Harder Hall. There was no promise made about the golf course. He said he was interested in it, and we said, you know what? You get Harder Hall open, come on back. We'll talk about it. That's all we said. No promise that we would give it to him, lease it to him, or sell it to him in any regard. Leonard was on that council. Mayor Shoup, you were there. Unless somebody made some promise in private, it was never made in public. I know I never made anything in private. So I just wanted to get that clarified for everybody. There was no promise.
You weren't on council, so you got the year wrong. We were here August of 22. You were not on council.
So, guys, I appreciate this, but let's keep it to public comment. You'll have your
When you
chance to speak
bought Harder
afterwards.
Hall in 2017, there was
wasn't
no.
us.
That wasn't us.
You're thinking of somebody else.
Thinking of
When did you buy Harder Hall?
August
August
2022.
2022.
Okay. You changed entities with Mr. Blackman?
No.
Who did we sell Harder Hall to in 2017? It was to that REIT that they were going to put a nursing home in there, or an ALF in there. And they were looking for bonds and couldn't get the bonds, and that's when they sold it to the Blackmans. So the Blackmans purchased it after that, but it was a different
But
group.
You
When did you buy it from
I've
the
never
city?
met you, so we never had
August
the
of
discussion.
2022, August 31st.
And you're saying the city council at that time made a promise to you?
Hold on.
You need to be careful about people speaking in
Yes, sir.
the mic
Yes, sir.
legally.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So
just
let,
so you know.
let's end the back and forth. I apologize. You'll
Okay.
get a chance to speak at the end, of course, and keep public comment to the microphone, please.
I believe that the city sold it in 2017, and there was no promise made.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Jackie Andrews. I've been a resident of Sebring for 52 years. I currently live on Gulfside Lane. My property backs up to the 6th fairway of the municipal golf course, and I'm not a golfer. Our neighborhood is comprised of middle-income housing with both retirees and families, and was developed by Gene Scheck in the 70s. At that time, Harder Hall was a functioning hotel with a namesake golf course and the municipal across the street on Gulfview Road. The houses backing up to the municipal course on that side have a mixture of old and new dwellings, basically middle income. Our neighborhood is a quiet community with the exception of the occasional exclamation, which cannot be repeated here, by golfers and a golf ball hitting a tree in my yard, or the distant cheers from the soccer fields on Saturday mornings. A natural wildlife corridor of woods actually buffers the sounds and lights from the current ball fields, which would not exist with additional fields. So here are my concerns with the proposed additional ball fields. We currently have drainage issues throughout the perimeter of the golf course, in addition to the flooding and ponding on just rainy afternoons, not to mention during hurricanes. Creating additional fields, parking, etc., will certainly compound this problem. Lights, noise, loss of wildlife habitat, and traffic are another issue for our quiet neighborhood. Also, why would we want to turn our locally controlled ball program to outsiders who don't even live here? My boys and my grandchildren grew up using the fields at Max Long. It has always been a community complex, and I see no reason to make it otherwise. There is additional land available at the softball complex, which is a much more logical location for large tournaments and tourism dollars. The Blackman family's lease proposal makes absolutely the most logical and financial sense. This family has already demonstrated their commitment to Sebring, their ability to financially follow through with their obligations, their resolve to improve the quality of the golf course facility, bringing experts in to address drainage and maintenance issues to be resolved forthwith, their desire to enhance our quality of life, bringing tourists who have time and dollars to spend here at a high-end, unique resort facility, encouraging longer visits, which will showcase and benefit all aspects of our unique Circle City. Thank you.
My name is Marsha Ward. I'm a member of a citrus family. We've been here for 102 years. So some businesses do last longer than the 25 years that you'd like to propose for a lease. I want you to all to stop and think about, where would we be if the constitutional fathers said, well, let's put a 25-year mark on this and come back and let's look at it and see if we think we need to change things. We're pushing 250 years with that one, and it has not been readdressed in all of that time. I'm not suggesting that they get 250 years, but I think you should realize that 99-year leases are an historical thing. They came along when people who had the money to go into business wanted that business to stay within their families, and they built it as a legacy for their families. And it was important to know that generation after generation was going to stay within it. We know for a fact nowadays that generally the third generation after that first generation dies generally doesn't hold on to it. Thankfully, my fourth generation is in our business. But in their case, I don't know if you have, I don't know this gentleman, so I don't know if you have grandchildren, but I do know that they're not going to invest that kind of money without thinking, is this going to still be here for us, for our family? And you can't stay in a community those 99 years without committing yourself to that community as well as to your family. Now I lost my train of thought. I don't normally get up and just speak. I usually have a script, but I really would appreciate if you all think about allowing more than one generation to look at it. We are in such a fast moving world. We think everything is supposed to be at our fingertips right now. It may take them 25 years to get it to that point that they feel strong and comfortable with it. You know, but if you put that stop on them, it's always going to hover over them and they will not be inclined to invest more money into it. It's one of those things you don't walk away. I mean, you don't stick with it if you don't know that you can still be with it. I mean, we've lost our business 3 times. Canker wiped us out. And my father said, oh, you know, I'm not going to go back in business. My mother said, over my dead body. So we started up again. The same customers came back to us. If you are a good member of the community, they'll support you through the time and so on. We have the same problem with Greening. Greening is trying to wipe out everybody in the citrus business. We've probably gone 10 years without taking any money of our own as far as profit goes, but we're staying there because we have 25 employees that need jobs, and every farmer thinks another year's gonna make it. So, I mean, give them that chance. 25 years is going to restrict them. 50 years is going to restrict them because the next generation isn't necessarily going to be ready to come in and commit to it. If you don't want to see them sell out and walk away from it, you've got to give them the chance to grow, not just throw the money into it and let's have it all of a sudden. It's going to take time. They might get there a lot faster than we do with citrus trees, I'm sure, but they've got to have the time to commit themselves. They've already proven that they can do it. They've done it in St. Pete to the point that they're looking for a new place to go. And this is where they chose. I think you should be really thrilled that we have someone that is willing to put that sort of effort in here. So I fully back everything that they've said that they were going to do. I've seen a lot of the things over in St. Pete that they've done. And I like the idea that they were looking for other places to grow. And hopefully there'll be more generations of them if we let them stay here. Thank you.
You have time.
Good afternoon. I'm Clinton Davis. I've been a resident of Sebring since I was 2 years old. I'm excited to see the things that are happening in Highlands County and in Sebring in particular. And that's thanks to a lot of the leadership, even though some of you guys are new, that have been here and have been, you know, ushering us forward. I just had a couple of questions. I don't know if they're going to get answered right now, but one of the things in respect to the sports facilities, there's a difference in property values. My profession is a real estate agent. There's a difference in property values if they're next to soccer fields or next to a golf course. So that's one of the things, like what kind of setbacks would we have, those kind of buffers to kind of preserve people's privacy to a certain degree and people's property values. The other things that I was wondering, and it may have been mentioned, I may have missed it, we kept talking about the potential tax implications with the triple net lease. Do we have like estimates on what that property is going to be bringing in? Like, because assuming their proposal's $1 that they're technically paying us, but if there's $200,000 in property taxes a year, you know, that's something to consider. And obviously he's bringing a $200,000 lease, I think the first year, and then going up 3% after that. Is that $200,000 to pay that tax, or is that in addition, that's $200,000 of profit with the addition of the triple net aspects with property taxes and maintenance. So that being said, one of the other things is I'm with you guys. I'm not a big fan of a 100-year lease. I mean, if we're talking and we're considering what the Blackmans are doing on a 100-year-old building that's been shut down for 40 years. So a 100-year lease is a very long commitment to make to anything, and anyone. So I would suggest a little bit longer than 25 years. I'd probably go 35 with a 25 renewal, something like that. Gives them, I mean, Mr. Blackman's a young man. He's going to be presumably he'll be working through that time period, and maybe around that point he'd be passing it on to kids or things of that nature. It would give us an opportunity to come back to the table if the market changes, if the needs of the city change, if ownership changes, and discuss those things. And then in the lease, if it does go to the golf courses, they're independent evaluators. And I think that should be a standard that we set, not just Mayor Shoup goes out to the golf course and he sees a puddle he doesn't like, and he's like, well, we need to void this lease because these guys aren't taking care of it. Have it annually, or maybe have it biannually inspected, have action plans and things of that nature, so that we can assure that they are living up to the standards they set. So I'm assuming that'll get flushed out by you guys. I really do appreciate your interest in the area that I call home. So I'm thankful for your investment. I'm thankful for your time to come down here. And although I don't look athletic, I do love to go to sports facilities from time to time as well. I'm cheering mostly now. So, but anyway, thank you guys, and I appreciate the council. And this is my last comment. This is something to take incredibly seriously. Guys, this is over 100 acres of prime real estate in the center of our town. If we develop that into just properties, that's nearly a $10 million value to which I'm not proposing. I'm just saying there's a significant cost to giving up that land long term without some safeguards. And obviously, with respect to business people doing business, we need to make sure that they can make money in that time as well. So thank you, guys.
I'm James Dean of Sebring. I'll be very brief. I actually don't play golf. I'm not going to talk about the golf course. I actually moved to Sebring originally to stay in the Santa Rosa Hotel. So I'm in love with historic buildings, and we all realize that in the last 2 years, 2 historic buildings have been lost in Sebring. The Blackman family figured out the problem with these buildings is they have 100-year-old heart pine beams that had become detached at the end. And so I think if you look, the Blackmans are the only ones who are doing foundations, the only ones who are doing things correctly in historic buildings. So I think if they had been here 5 years ago, we'd have 2 more historic landmarks. And if they continue what they're doing, that historic landmarks will be continue to be safe. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to say I'm a be a member of the public at this moment and also an elected official of the city for 30 years. I'm sorry, I think it was an insult for anyone to call this council or any other previous council not business minded and they were going to run to bring common sense. I take great disrespect to that, as I know how hard everyone on this council works. And as you all know, I have not always agreed with your decisions, and I would probably have voted a different way at certain times. But to say that publicly at a meeting is an insult to the hard work and everything that y'all do for $1 a year. Also, with respect to the Blackmans and things that have been said online, it's been basically the city against the Blackmans. At no point have I ever heard, and I'm in this office every single day, well, Monday through Friday, has anyone ever said anything negatively towards your family or to your proposal or anything? And I want that publicly said. We are not against the Blackman family or your proposal or any other proposals that are being put out there. It has not been said in this office or on this council or at any meeting, and it's been said in social media where people like to say things because they don't want to, unlike y'all who have called and asked for public records and asked to see documents, people do not do. Josh even was on, you're the only one I kind of heard the other day on the D&D show. Their numbers are out there. They put their emails out there and say, please call us. We'll meet with you. We'll talk to you. Call us, whatever. Get all the facts. Nobody does that. We are in City Hall every day. I've received 3 phone calls. 3. And that's what we get. But people want to put on social media their comments and the reactions without getting the facts. Again, y'all excluded because y'all have asked for information and y'all have asked for research. And I'm going to address the agreement. Because I have been here longer than anybody in this room as far as up here on this dais. And probably in the city. I've lived in the city limits of Sebring for 63 years. That may be very sad to some people, but that's my story. And so I know a lot about this town. And through my elected official business up here, I am not saying that when y'all met with council that they did not promise you or make agreements with you. That could have very well be done, and I am not going to dispute that. But I am telling you, as my title as keeper of official records, that there was never an official voted upon agreement that the golf course would ever directly go to the Platinum. I am not saying that those conversations did not happen. I'm not saying that at all, because I don't believe you would get up here and lie about that. And I think that maybe those conversations were said personal. What is said personal and what is done as official actions are absolutely 2 different things, and that never happened. There was never an official signed agreement that would happen. So anyone that thinks that or says that, whether it was 2017, 2023, whatever, that was never an official signed agreement. So that perception needs to be done, and I'm sorry I didn't mean to prolong that, but I wanted to make that clear. So whether it was this council or past council, that was never done. But this council works very hard, and I would hope that no one would run for office, whether it's my position, the mayor's position, or any council member's position. They would run for one issue or for one family to make their cause come through. Because if you did, I hope that you would not be sitting up here. But they work hard and they try to make the best decisions. They don't always get it right. They will not always get it right. But if one of y'all were up here, you would never always get it right either. And I just take great offense to that was said, because y'all put in a lot of long hours without very little appreciation for that. And that's all I had to say. But I needed to make a couple of those things very, very clear.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Got a line for me here.
Sorry about that. My name is James Shoup. No relation, Mayor, I don't think. I am not a native son of Highlands County. I've been here in Sebring for about 5 years, but my wife grew up in Lake Placid, and we moved back home to her home. Didn't plan on saying anything today, and I thought even if I did, I knew exactly what that would be. But today, some things kind of hit me as I was listening to the proposals and the council's questions and things of that nature. And everybody keeps talking about what's best for the city. I hear that a couple of times. You guys have the unenviable task of figuring that out. What is best for the city? And I found it interesting. The proposals kind of fell for me in like a past, present, future kind of parameters. You know, present as is, if the city wants to get out of the golf course business, save the overage and expense that you have, and generate a little bit of revenue, H&L has a proposal for that. Past, Sebring has a rich history. I'm not from Highlands County. I don't have the emotional attachment to Harder Hall that many of you do, but I've been coming to Highlands County for almost 25 years, and I hear the stories every time we drive down 27 for my wife. That to me, is the Blackmans. They're honoring the past, right? And the money and investments they're making, I can see through my wife and her eyes how that means so much to them. I'm a business person. I've been a contract negotiator for over 20 years. So I thought I would approach this from a business standpoint, which brings me to the future. And honestly, Sports Med, I didn't think anything of that proposal when I looked at it online. But the more I sat here and thought about it, I'm a golfer. I played 200 rounds a year. I was a member at the Muni before they redid the greens. That's when I left. Not because they redid the greens, but because I wanted to keep playing. And Spring Lake had opened up, and that's where I live. I live in South Sebring. So, but my point is, I'm a golfer, and it pains me to say this, but golf is on the decline. We've already mentioned how many golf courses there are in the area. This space that the city owns, and I know that youth sports are exploding. All the people I play golf with are 70 and 80-year-old retirees. I can't get people my age to come play golf because they got kids and they're going to youth sports tournaments every weekend. You know, you think about race week, that is 52 weekends a year, the kind of people that come in. It's crazy. People my age with, you know, teenage and preteen kids, they spend so much money just taking their kids to play sports. It's absolutely amazing. So that's me. You want to talk about creating a revenue generator for the city? You've got the property. It's going to take a little bit of risk. It takes a little bit of foresight and the ability to, you know, to stick to it, but it's there. That's the future. When he said the largest in the state of Florida, or whatever it was, second largest, that blew my mind. Like, you don't know the draw that is. I'm originally from Virginia. In the winter, my brother brings his daughter to Florida to play travel softball. So I know this is real. And that is not going away as far as I'm concerned. How many people are going to want to come keep seeing the history of Sebring? I don't know. So that's the challenge you guys have, is what is best for the city? Do we want to live off of our history and hope people come to see it? Or do we want to create a revenue generator for the city that we know will be there? And, you know, when we're talking about our kids not being here and all this good stuff, that could still be there. And that's an investment we made now for the future of this city. So thank you very much.
Who's next?
Good afternoon, Greg Griffin, resident City of Sebring. Thank you, gentlemen, for all your proposals. I've read through all of them. They good proposals, good options. A couple things I'd like to address, some are wider on topic than others. First, I have a son who plays travel soccer. We drive an hour and 40 minutes every day of the week so that he has a facility to practice in and teams to practice with. He plays nationally and internationally, so we get a firsthand view of facilities across the country and also international facilities. As such, I can tell you this, our area is ripe for development of such a facility, whether it's on this parcel or one in the city limits or near the city limits, because as a gentleman from SportsMed said, we are centrally located to the vast majority of Florida. We played in a tournament last week at Lakewood Ranch called the Dimitri Cup. There are 1,000 teams over 3 weekends. So that is, you know, conservatively 18,000 kids and their families. That's a lot of heads in beds, and that's a lot of seats in restaurants. You know, from an economic development perspective, that is certainly something that's worth looking at and digging deeper into. From a golf course perspective, when I was a kid, you know, many of you know I've grown up here. My family's been here for generations. Sebring Municipal Golf Course was busy, and there were a lot of good things that happened there. Over the years, the facilities aged out. You look at other government-run facilities. Closest that we have here is Sun and Lake. Sun and Lake puts, you know, I would say at least $1 million or more a year into their facility. They built a multi-million-dollar clubhouse. They've created it. Yesterday, I was at Troon Golf, at a Troon Golf facility down in Cape Coral, a municipally owned but Troon Golf managed facility. They're about to build a $20 million clubhouse. But that's what's pulling people away and into. Now, granted, population density is a lot higher there than what it is. From the onset, my concern and my only concern with the Blackman synergy, as they referenced, is the pace of play, to use the golf term, in which things have been getting done locally. The Horseshoe Building, they got not one, not two, but 3 bites at the apple. The first bite was the building with a promised restaurant. We heard Cheesecake Factory, we heard Ford's Garage, we heard a series of restaurants. That failed. We had a second bite at the apple where they had the opportunity to come in and provide an office building. That did not get done for the contract guidelines during the time, and somebody feel free to correct me if they'd like. The third bite at the apple consisted of the Blackmans coming back and asking for and receiving a $600,000 grant, plus 5 years tax abatement, and other concessions. I don't have a problem with any three of those options. The problem I have, the parking lot got shut down about a year and a half ago. And I was at a CRA meeting with Mr. Lydell, I don't know, what, a few months ago, Mr. Lydell? Asked, this was before the Christmas parade, our local businesses are being impacted negatively by this parking lot being closed. Why can't we, and I'll give you a specific example, Dee's Place. Dee has been here for decades and served this community that people will have no idea. But it has impacted her business horrifically. People don't come because they aren't within walking distance. And what was I told? It's not our parking lot to tell people what to do with. When this Christmas parade came up, we made some phone calls, juggled around. We were told that the property wasn't insured properly. It was insured as a vacant parking or vacant lot. And it's a construction site. Well, I have real concern over that, because if it's genuinely a construction site, nothing's really happened other than some painting up to recently. And a construction site, by definition, should have a construction fence around it if it's going to be governed and managed to that degree. So I have concern about the local impacts that we've seen. I hope, and I'm going to be sincere in this, that you are capable of doing that you are capable and willing to do what you say you will do should the city give you that golf course. For the city's perspective, I would suggest that you ask for pro forma that validates the financial capacity, but also the operating costs that they're expecting. Because on numerous occasions, they said that they started this project as a passion project, and it's had to evolve because of the cost into a business project. Based on $250, $300 a square foot, a low conservative number for the restoration of a project of this type, you're looking somewhere around $24 to $25 million just for the building, okay? When you do an ROI analysis on a project of that size, does it pencil out? I just want to make sure that we aren't asset stacking for collateralization by giving all of these properties away. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Are you guys coming up to speak, or are you leaving? Okay. All right, last call. Okay. So the end of this meeting is going to be some follow-up by the presenters. If you'd like, each have up to 10 minutes if you want to speak and address anything.
Could we take a short break?
Sure. All right. A bathroom break has been requested. We're going to do 5 minutes. So we'll be back at 3:21. All right, we're going to go ahead and call this meeting back to order. Give everybody a minute to find their seats. When everybody's back, we're going to start with follow-up by presenters. All right, so each presenter will get up to 10 minutes to do follow-up or respond to questions or concerns, make any closing remarks. So we're going to go in the order of the presentations. So the Blackman Group is up first. So you've got 10 minutes.
Drew had to leave. He's got to get back to coach softball. But, you know, I just want to say, truly, we are thankful to be doing this today. We appreciate all you guys putting this forward. You know, no matter what happens, I mean, you know, I used to get more highs and lows emotionally. You know, it's something's going to happen. We appreciate the certainty, honestly. We are thankful for you guys' service. And, you know, you guys all ask great questions of us, guys and gals, excuse me. But you guys all ask great questions of us, of the other groups. We're excited. And we appreciate all the public comment. It was really insightful. You know, the only thing I would say is it does make me, you know, and this is kind of what we've been trying to deal with, and it's tough and it's emotionally tough, is, you know, when the building official comes and introduces himself as the building official and then trashes us and says, do they have money? They've had all these permit extensions. That just seems like a slap in the face and something that should not have been done. I've never seen something like that in my life. And I mean, I'm not even angry. I'm just shocked that the building official would come and say, I'm Sebring's building official. You guys should check these guys out more. And how do you think we feel when we're trying to get permits from the same guy who's a private provider too? It's just, it's scary. And this is the challenges we've been feeling in Sebring, is we just want everything to be out in the open and fair. And, you know, we do appreciate you guys vetting us. And, you know, you have a tough decision ahead. You have 3 offers, and I completely agree. I think the sports med plan is a great plan. I think it's something that's been being pushed for. I think it should be done in this county. I think it should probably be a county project. The fact that they're willing to visit Sebring is great. I think you're gonna have problems in that neighborhood, and that's what LOL's presentation, you know, when he had 8% say they supported it there. It's the right plan, I think the wrong location. And of course, I feel we'd do the most community value with the golf course, but I do appreciate the other people coming forward. And it just does show that you guys are doing the right things in Sebring to grow your brand, and you guys are willing to do outside the box thinking. You know, again, we want to win. We badly want to win. We want certainty. But more than anything, we are thankful that you guys have pushed this to the point where you're going to make a decision. I don't think there's much more I can ask for, and I appreciate it. And that's it. You know, best of luck to everybody. I think the public's happy this is coming in for a landing. And I think no matter what, you guys are going to win because you are eliminating your downside, hopefully. And I think we're the best way to do that. But I think it's going to be a great future as you guys look at other projects that you're freeing up all this money. And I think you guys should all be commended for the effort and the time you've put in. So that's all. And we really appreciate everybody.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Mr. Leonard, yes, sir.
I just want to thank you guys again for this opportunity. I already started emailing Jamie the letters of recommendation, so she'll have those over the course of the next few days. And anything else you guys need from me, just reach out. I'm available at all times, and I'll be happy to provide it. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Stewart, would you like to say anything further?
And appreciate so much the passion for today and the public comments, and that kind of passion that we actually see carried out on the sidelines with our fields and tournament play. That kind of community is what really begins to be the root that supports a multi-sport facility as we proposed. We were tasked with responding to an RFP that suggested the location and property of use, and we brought our vision to that location. As one of the speakers eloquently stated, that you have 3 proposals at hand, and we do believe we are the future vision. There is demand for such a facility in that area, and if not here, we'd be happy to speak to you about where possibly within your community could we talk to you about a similar or like facility? Mr. Blackman's historical renovation is actually works hand in hand with what we're proposing. We don't view that as a competing proposal. As the other gentleman stated, heads and beds are very important to these types of facilities, and having a historical renovated resort type hotel nearby would be an asset for those visiting and participating in those tournaments. So we wish him the very best for that property. So again, we appreciate your time in allowing us to present. There was a question, I believe, from one of the folks there that asked about setbacks and how we separate ourselves from residential or other jurisdictions within your code of ordinances. We always defer to the local community ordinances and follow those in our site planning. And so buffers and setbacks are often something we have to include in our site planning. So whether it's here or in another location, we would still adhere to your local ordinances in the development of that facility. We thank everyone. We thank everyone's time to have it in the middle of the day. Awesome and see this kind of participation. And if we can answer any further questions after today, I will share again my contact information with Jamie and be ready to supply whatever needed.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, before we adjourn today, I just want to thank everyone for attending. This was an incredibly long meeting. Thanks for sticking it out and caring. Thank you to each of our proposers for the tremendous amount of work you put into this. And a reminder that we will be voting on this item at our Thursday, February 19th City Council meeting here in these chambers, starting at 5:30.
Hey, Josh, can I just say one more thing?
I'm going to close it down.
Close it down.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.